Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 212 of Defining Duke, a Xbox podcast. Today, I am joined by the illustrious, the Ichiban fan, based on your t-shirt, Lord Cognito. How are you doing today, good sir?
Oh, I'm showing some love. I'm showing some love.
No, I
some homage.
Wealth. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, cause it's a team now. We're brothers.
Yeah, of course. I don't know, bro. I got to say, I've decided, pardon the pun, I'm jumping ship. I'm going into Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza, whatever the hell the name of the game is. I'm jumping ahead.
How dare you?
Yeah.
I can't talk, though, because I did the same thing.
Yeah. I was like, you know what?
Into Like a Dragon, the first one, and skip.
Like, it needs to spark the pilgrimage, right? Like, I need something that's going to spark it. And I'm like, this looks detached enough from everything else, but unique enough and fun enough where I'm going to be like, give me more of this. So, pirate JRPG style game, I don't know. I'm all about it. So I'm very excited for that game. So maybe that'll pull me back into the early days of Yakuza, where I'll start off with like 0, climb my way up, get back to Ichibor. In Infinite
easy.
Wealth.
We don't talk about the goat that way. But I'm excited for you. It's interesting that this is the Pirate Yakuza is the one that's pulling you in the most. Like it
just looks
really
stupid. I got it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Like
Majima, it looks like they do a Black Flag. Like it's bro.
Yeah. Like come on now. I don't know, dude. I just decided, you know what? We'll talk about what we're playing. There's just some games I want to like have my time valued a little bit more, and that feeling has been growing in me a lot since last year. And I'm like, this looks like just like I love me a story, but this looks like a really fun time, and so I'm about it. So very excited about that.
Yeah, hang it in, man. It's like I said, I've been moving at 100 miles like we talked before, and just fresh off the New York Game Awards, and bro, it was special, man. It got me emotional. We gave Sam Lake, the Legend Award. I got a chance to present to the legend and do that. I was out there for the VR space. So many people showed up. So many people sent so much love. Oh, God Howard was in the building.
Oh, he was in my state, eh?
Came up and said, look, Cognito, you did a good job. I was like, okay, all right.
We love that.
All right. I was like, look, I ain't Mr. Maddie Plays in that, but
Stop.
I was like my co-host and all that, but I appreciate you. You recognize who I am. You know what I'm saying? But it was dope, man. And all in all, obviously for the city of New York and New York Games, Critic Circle, Video Games Critic Circle, which I'm a part of, and it's all about providing opportunity to underserved communities and students to get them into game journalism or just gaming industry and all. Machine Games was in the building. Troy Baker was in the building.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was so many people. A lot of people came through some awards. So again, highly recommend. We co-streamed it on the ILP channel. Obviously, I was at the event, but the guys was holding it down, and it was just It was good to see everyone kind of come together, celebrate again. I love the fact that we had a DLC specific award.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Shout out to Harold Govio. They did the award sequencing right. We had a remake award too. I was like, some kind of award show. You know what I'm saying? But no doubt. Shout out to Mega Ren. He performed an amazing set for music. Shout obviously the legend Reggie Fils-Aimé in the building. You know what I'm saying? Salute to him. It was just so many cool people. And, once you get over the nerves of getting up there and doing present, I just say, you know what? Just have fun. Just have fun.
The pressure, dude, if you're presenting in front of like icons, bro,
But you get in that state. But when you got to walk that aisle, you get, and mind you, I'm not the teleprompter guy. Like some people have, I'm not trying to brag. Like I'll just go off top and I have some idea of what I'm going to say. Oh, shout out to my homegirl. I got to shout out to Shannon Lau, New York Times, formerly Washington Post, formerly CNN. Amazing game writer, a journalist. She's amazing. Very beautiful woman. I have to put her out there. I got a lot of comments like, who that? I was like, hey, she's married. Stop. Stop that. I know people was in my DMs like, I said, all of a sudden now y'all following Shannon. I know what y'all doing. Y'all not slick. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's my homegirl. She's so cool. And I remember when we were talking at the Critic Circle, I go to a lot of Critic Circle events, and I was talking gaming with Troy and them, and stuff about stuff we beat. Oh, I gave Todd his flowers. I was like, bro, your fingers all over that Indiana Jones, bro. I already know. He sitting there with the smoke. He's like, I want to give credit to. I said, he did your person because he tried to direct me to Machine Gaze, and your man was there. The Swedish dude with the glass, the tall guys that always present the game director. Yeah, they was there. You know the guy that always present. Remember when Indiana Jones was going through its presenting phase and talk about game mechanics? Yeah. You got the director dude. The two, I
know what you're talking about. I forget his name.
So I didn't know Machine Games was there, right? So he trying to be humble. I'm like, respectfully, they did their thing. Id Tech, no doubt. But we know your fingers your love and appreciation for this character, and you see him, you let go, and he just smiled. He's like, "Thank you, man. I really appreciate that." So I had to give him that. But man, it was dope. The whole event, highly recommend. Again, if you want to check it out, go to NewYorkVideoGamesCriticCircle.com. Anything you can donate, anything you contribute, again, it goes straight to the studio. All this is nonprofit. Nobody's getting a bag. We're here for the love of games, game journalism, and to get people in the games industry. So it's dope for my times. I wish when I was my age, I had something like that. You know what I'm saying? For us to be a part of when I was younger. So yeah, it's dope, man. I like to do it every year.
No, that's honestly awesome, dude. I got to go out one year because I didn't know it was so soon, and like I live right nearby. Like I am.
Oh, you got to pull up.
Yeah, I'm a car ride away. No, I didn't know it was that soon. I apologize.
Yeah,
I every
year, and we do it January after the whole year, right. So you can get the proper. Oh, Troy got all voice actor joint.
I did see that on Twitter. Yeah.
He got that. A lot of people. Metaphor. We came off of writing. We came off of writing. Yeah. Metaphor got a couple joints. And ask about what again?
No.
I had to let my hate go. I was like, I know where my vote was, but respect to the panel. But they came off. They came off. Even Reggie in trouble. Reggie in trouble, bro. Reggie, when Astrobot won their award, they accepted. He was like, "Yeah, man, I have to admit, they made something close enough to rival.
Close enough.
Close. He threw the compliment, but he also threw the shot. So the Astrobot people were like, "Yo, bro," but the Nintendo people were like, "How dare you say that's close to us? That's a copy paste." Like it is civil war with the Mario dudes and the Astrobot dudes. Yeah. After this comment that Reggie put up, y'all gotta watch it, man. It's hilarious.
Interesting. Yeah, Reggie's like what I learned reading that book. He is fiercely protective of Nintendo still to this day. Like that is a loyalist, bro, through and through.
He don't play no games about the Nintendo, bro.
No, but it's cool that what I was thinking because Ted Price announced that he is retiring from Insomniac.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, like, there's gonna come a time like these icons that are in that building, like who knows who the new faces of gaming are really gonna be, but like we've had the same faces of gaming for ages, right? Since the genre really since everything like this picked up. So
bro, it's hitting me with Yoshida leaving. First of all, it shows my age. Man, I've been there for damn 30 years. But like, he's the reason why I fell in love with PlayStation. Like a lot of his decisions and the fact he was in charge of the game division as part of the hardware. But to your point, we're seeing our luminaries transition, right? And go through. So again, we're not going to have people forever, man. So you gotta appreciate it and see who the successors are, right?
I agree. Yeah. And that's, for example, like in the case of Ted Price, like there's going to be 3 co-studio heads now. And I'm like, it's just like not like the same kind of recognizable face that you would attach to it all. It reminds me a little bit of like when Herman Hulse stepped in. It's like, I don't know, it's just not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Different. It's different. You're right.
Yeah. That's the thing I always think about, of course, is like my favorite game designer is Todd Howard. I'm like, who's his protege if he has one?
What that going to be?
I'm like, who follows this guy up?
No, I like that I think it was you that broke it, right? He was just like, hey, I want to keep going.
Yeah, he's going to be around for a while, it seems. But, that day will eventually come.
But the eventual come, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I tell people all the time, man, you don't know how long these people are going to be here. So appreciate them while they are here, man. And things could dramatically change when they're gone. So you never know.
100%. And so with that, let's do a hard pivot, shall we?
Let's do it.
Everyone can write in over on patreon.com/laststandmedia, but Zach had the best write-in of them all. Said, Dukes, we need to address the elephant in the room. During the Lions and Commanders playoff game, the head ref was having some issues talking as he had a really weak voice. One of the announcers then suggested to, quote, Get that man some throat coat tea, end quote. Maddie, please take your flowers. What started off as a small ripple has now turned into a giant tsunami that is coating America's collective throats. And this very podcast is ground zero. Thanks for reading and have a thank you, Maddie, for coating my throat kind of day.
Yo. That was wild pause, but go ahead.
Yeah, look, I know we saw the clip, Cog, but I was laughing at that for a while. I could not believe at anything this dude recommended on live television, like get him. I always said, like, get him a Halls, like, oh man, he doesn't sound well, or ooh, tough day for the ref, like anything like that. No, he says, get him some throat coat tea. So I hope now, with national exposure to the thing I have been marketing to you all for free, by the way.
Facts.
For free.
Facts.
And maybe if you are feeling a little weak in the throat, you coat it a little bit with some tea, some slippery elm all over your insides.
Not the slippery elm all over your inside. You a demon. You're diabolical right now. And I love it. I appreciate the type of time you are right now. This is your moment. You are shining. And this thing, it is a tsunami, like Zach said. Like, I can't get away. Shout out to my boy Robert Kellett from Lognet, who pulled up to the Game Awards. The man handed me a pack of throat coats. I said, if you don't get out this theater right now, I said, I'm not taking a picture with you with this. I said, stop it. Stop it. I know what you do. He was like, bro,
it's so funny. You're out there, you getting handed the tea.
He brought the throat coat, bro. I can't escape you, bro. I'm like, yo, this is his greatest, most funniest thing ever. And it's everywhere.
Because the thing is, I think what's happening is people are like, no way this exists. And they look it up. And they're like, damn, really? And
it's real.
They unironically buy it. And
exactly.
So, dude, I'm just, I'm going to DM my personal, like the agents who represent me. I'm going to personally have them reach out and see if we can get something going for Duke. Cause I'm just like, come on, this is the drink of the Dukes. Like, this is like the best fucking deal you could do. Come on now. So we'll see what we can do.
Someone quoted what he said last time. You were like, yo, bro, I got you that throat coat. I was like, no, you don't. You don't got me on that. It's so funny to see that interaction and how the communities get behind it. But salute to you. This
life's going to catch up to me when someone hits me with that in person because I won't be ready for it. Like, I'll just be like talking, like I'll be talking about the convention, be like, you got your throat coat, man? I'll be like, is this person like about to assault me? Oh, right. I was like, okay, I got you.
I got you.
Yeah. Just gonna have strangers telling me about the throat coat. Lily has no context, so she'll be like,
she has no context on it?
Yeah, she'll be like, what the fuck did they just say to you?
This is great.
Well, thank you for writing in, Zach. And to the fellow Dukes out there who are embracing the throat coat tea, we appreciate you. And we also appreciate those of you who sign up on patreon.com/laststandmedia. $5 gains you early access, the ability to write into all of our lovely shows. Like I said, early access does not just apply here to all of our shows. So you can write in and listen early to Summon Sign, Sacred Symbols, Punching Up, which is now weekly. You can, of course, get us. So much content here for such a little price. We'd love to have you. So feel free to hop on board. Just like, this is actually not going to be a great transition. That fat white guy.
Shout out to him.
Yeah. Shout out to the fat white guy who says, I wanted to share my own health as wealth. I recently decided to go to the dentist after pushing it off for 8 years because of my fear of the dentist and the cost of dental work, even with insurance. I said, screw it, and went after chipping a tooth, and I'm glad I did as I found out I needed multiple fillings and root canals. Oof. My teeth still aren't perfect, and I still have a ways to go, but I'm happy to finally conquer a big fear of mine, get back on the right track, and finally smile with confidence. Sorry for the long write-in, and have an amazing day. No worries at all. It's good. Dental health is wealth, a little bit overlooked. I got to admit, I sometimes do it myself, dude. Like, I just don't think to make that annual appointment to get things looked at. It's something I got to check off this year. Now I do have my insurance. At least it'll be some level cheaper. But yeah, I feel him on this, dude. There was the thing with dental health as well that gets me is I got lucky because when I went, there was no problems, but I did go a long stretch without going to the dentist. And the whole time I was just accepting, like, deep down, I'm going to find something I don't want to learn about in there. I think that's what puts a lot of us off with the dentist. It's like, I'm going to find something terrible. I'll wait till my mouth's in like dire straits and then I'll go do something about it. But just one day I was like, I think it was Locke. Locke was having really bad teeth pain for a lot of last year. And it was like, we had to like work our show around it and stuff. I felt really bad for him. And when that was happening, I was like, I need to jump on this because when like your teeth hurt, there's nothing you can do. That's it.
Brutal. No, you're right. I mean, it's the same thing with me. I mean, He's fat white guy. Shout out to you, man. You're hitting home, man, because this was a problem of mine maybe 2-3 years ago, and I was slacking. I was just like, man, because what it's like, it's that fear of having to face the, hey, something might be up. You may be having pain or whatever it is. I remember I did the wisdom joint a few years back, and then ever since that point, I've been more consistent and going there. But my thing is just like, I just hate, like, if you got a cavity and you got to stay there and, they drill it and then you got to spit in the little baby toilet bowl. And then, like, I
a little bit
hate
bigger, bro. Because you just watch it fill up with blood and I'm like, Yeah,
it's just, and then like, they be really drilling, son. Like, so sometimes it's just like, okay, I had to get my boss to say, no, you have to get this done. And the more you take care of your teeth, and the thing I sucked at was surprisingly.
Yeah, flossing.
So you know what's my joint now? They got the little mini floss sticks, and they flavor it. They got the little peppermint joint, so after you eat, you don't get to get between, because that's what really be getting that build up and the plaque and the tartar and all that stuff. So I do that, and
you don't realize, even if you think you floss a lot, you don't realize, because when I went to the dentist and they got between my teeth, like all of a sudden water and shit was just flowing between my teeth on a whole other level. I was like, oh, damn, that shit was blocked up.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought I kept a good, clean pair of teeth.
Facts. Brushing alone is not just it. And I was a big offender of that. So, yeah, for sure. That, like, I'm so glad I've been on it. And now I've been consistent like that every 6 months, whatever. And now I'm getting the good. Like, I haven't had a cavity in a minute. Like, I've been good. So I'm trying to stay focused. So my only issue is I got to be very careful with my gums, because they were like, my gums are sensitive stuff. So she recommended a special, like, toothpaste and mouthwash, stuff like that. But ever since then, I've been on it, man. But this is important. Health is wealth with the dentist. We be procrastinating big time with
Absolutely. Well, let's start with Kevin Rude. If Fat White Guy thought his writing was long, Kevin Rude got the one up here. He says, "Hey, Dukes, apologies in advance for the long writing. I initially didn't think it would be this long. I'm a long-time listener since episode 1. I don't know how many times I've listened to you speak about health as wealth, but it recently finally sank in last year that I need to start taking better care of myself. So I just wanted to share with you what's happened, what I'm doing now, and hopefully others can glean knowledge from my experiences. Back in July, I had kidney stones, which sent me to the ER twice and resulted in 3 operations. Pray that you never get kidney stones. It is the single most painful thing you will ever experience. I thought I was dying. I have since significantly increased my fluid intake, as it seems to be the cause of stones was frequent dehydration. This is why I drink water all the fucking time, bro. Just to throw it out there, like, people always joke about this thing, but no, bro, I will get made fun of for that all day long. I remember my dad was telling me about when he went through. I was just like, dude, he was like, it is a pain you do not want to experience.
Soft gets them. And bro, he went through another one, bro. It is, I hate to see him like that. I was just like, bro, he was like, you don't want any of this. I'm like, okay. I see it through him.
Yeah. It's like, okay, water, you got it.
Yep.
I have a history of heart disease in my family. 30 years ago, when I was 9 years old, my father passed away at the age of 43 from heart failure. I have occasional heart palpitations, and being that I'm nearly my father's age when he died, I went to a cardiologist to get my heart examined and stress tested and to get some blood tests. Fortunately, after all the tests, my heart is in decent shape, but my LDL cholesterol was 161, which was way too high for someone at risk. My doctor wanted to put me on meds for the cholesterol, but I elected to do it on my own by completely changing my diet. Every day, I'm eating less than 15 grams of saturated fat, 0 grams of cholesterol, and increasing my fiber intake. After 2 months of sticking with this diet 99% of the time, and to the amazement of my doctor, I lowered my LDL to 120. Ooh. They said it's fairly unheard of for someone to lower this much in such a short span of time, so I'm really proud of that. I still need to get closer to 100, but I'm on the right track. However, the doctor advised that I need to get much more active. I'm not overweight, but I'm fairly sedentary, and I also wanted to put on some muscle because I feel pretty weak and scrawny. So I recently signed up for a gym membership, which my employer will 100% cover the cost for. And my first day at the gym is today. Lastly, I went to an eye doctor a few months ago, because it's been a long time since I got an eye exam. I don't have any real vision issues. I can see just fine in my daily life without glasses, but when sitting on the couch to play games, things look a little blurry and glossy sometimes. I now have a really weak minus 0.25 / minus 7.5 lens prescription. So I really only wear glasses when I'm watching TV or playing games. But wow, it makes such a huge difference. Games look so much more crisp, and I'm noticing small details that I couldn't see before. It's like I'm finally playing games in full HD. The eye doctor also advised it's important to get annual or semi-annual exams so they can monitor changes in your eyes to detect things like glaucoma or cataract early, especially if you have a family history. So my recommendation to everyone out there, drink water, stop eating so much greasy and fried foods, exercise even a few times a week, listen to your body, and get things checked out. See if your employer offers any wellness benefits. They might even cover all or some of the gym membership, and go to see an eye doctor, even if you don't need correction or think you're fine without correction, so that you can better enjoy your video games. All the best to you two dudes. Kevin Root. Thank you, Kevin, for the lengthy write-in. Yeah, dude, a lot here resonating with me. I've been to a heart doctor in a while, and I'm always just like, I talked to you guys on Summit Side about it. I was like, yeah, sometimes the reason I don't lift is because like if I'm going to squeeze in any quick workout, it's going to be cardio, because I'm like, I know I'm sedentary. But even sometimes knowing that, like, I still will sit like 3 days straight, basically 4 days straight. Just each day gets away from me, and it's something I'm trying to make a change for the better this year. But you know, this is a good wake up call for me in some ways. In that regard, I do have an eye doctor appointment this week, though. So,
nice, nice,
because I just, you know, I don't want to take my vision for granted, but also I remember I had like a little bump on my left eye, and they were just like, "Oh, it's like a cyst that forms when your eyes are strained a lot." So I'm just getting now a true eye exam to make sure everything's good. So we'll see where I'm at. Maybe I come back with glasses next week. I don't know.
All right. Look, man, we got to take care of it, man. Again, us, you know, as content creators, and obviously me as a former IT guy, eye strain is real, man. Seeing in front of that computer is real. I'm so glad Kevin said this, because, again, I, as a person who has now been diagnosed with you know, glaucoma a couple years back, I had to change my whole habits, you know what I'm saying, as far as that. And the other thing is, as far as like my eyes would tear a lot, you know, when I go outside, and a lot of it suffers from, you know, the lubrication over your eyes, like, you know, getting basic eye drop stuff, that keeping that stuff, especially when you have glaucoma, and other things as far as also eyelash health. People don't realize, like, when you wake up, sometimes you got that little, you know what I'm saying? That you got, there's actually special scrubs that you could use for that, and stuff like that. You could get over the counter, like at a pharmacy and stuff like that. So eye health, extremely important. I love what he said about using his job as far as the wellness. Many jobs, employers have some form of a wellness program that even at the minimum, they may not cover the whole thing, like your gym membership, but they'll contribute to part of it, you know, kind of thing. That's huge. A lot of people don't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But I love what he's doing with glasses. I love what he's doing as far as the cholesterol, fried food. That is huge. Those are huge improvements, man. I'm proud of it. This is full spectrum stuff. And I love the constant check-in. But yeah, the kidney stone stuff, you know, super painful. I feel for you on that. I'm glad you are taking that. And salute to you on the LDL cholesterol. That is amazing. Oh, one last thing for the heart health also. If you're not, because I know I suffer from this, I'm not that I don't eat fish at all, but I don't eat it enough. I don't eat seafood enough. So like, I would highly recommend fish oil. Fish oil is also good for heart health as well. You know, the omega-3s and stuff like that. So yeah, man. And recognizing, like you said, being sedentary. So, you know, getting out there, moving. I got my stopwatch, you know, my smartwatch. Hey, got my steps for the day. Hey, you haven't been moving. What's up? And trying to be better about it. But yeah, this is good stuff, man. I love to hear how Kevin is being, you know, staying on top of everything like that.
And the thing is when you get to that point that Kevin's at, you feel just like, why didn't I do this all along? And once you experience that once, it'll never leave you. So if anyone's looking for a motivation to get started, that's really what it is. You don't know how different you will feel. Like, even when you think you're fine. For the reason I'm so adamant about me changing a lot of my shit this year over time is because I know I'm not fine, even if I technically feel fine. I know there's a lot I could be doing that would make me feel better, stronger. Like, I definitely feel weaker. Like, there's a lot I could be doing better. And so you may be resting in that area of complacency, and you won't know that until you get to that other side and you're like, wow, I feel really fucking good, man. So shout out to Kevin Root for the great write-in. Shout out to that fat white guy as well. Sorry, I keep calling you that, bro.
That's your name.
Yeah, that's your name, bro. Yeah, I'll call you whatever you want. So, all right. Well, that's enough for the write-ins, Cog. Let's start by catching up with a story from last week. I wanted to dive right on top of this because it's a very interesting reply from Xbox to Insider Gaming about a report we covered last week from The Information. It was making the rounds, and it detailed a pretty bleak outlook on Xbox's financials since 2021, even citing that Satya Nadella was going to shut down the gaming division. Since then, Microsoft and Activision have individually responded to Insider Gaming on what's actually going on here. So I'm going to read straight from the article here. They say, in its last 4 earnings reports, Microsoft has reported revenue increases regularly for Xbox content and services. Going back to Q2 fiscal year 2024, Xbox content and services revenue increased by 61%, driven by 55 points of the net impact from the Activision acquisition. For the next quarter, revenue was reported to have increased 62%, with 61 points attributed to Activision. For Q4 2024, it was saw up another 61%, with 58 points of net impact from the purchase. Lastly, Q1 of fiscal year 2025 saw the revenue increase. This one's a little more ideal, by 61%, with 53 points coming from Activision. Breaking down the numbers, Activision has accounted for over 85% of each quarter's revenue increase. It also shows over the last 3 quarters a slight steady growth outside of Activision's impact, from a low of 1 point to 8 points as of Q1 fiscal year 2025. Moving on to suggestion from the report that in 2021, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that the company would wind down its games business entirely. The company flat out denies that. They point to comments made around that time, with Nadella expressing that Microsoft is all in on gaming, which people may remember him standing there with like the Halo Infinite jacket on. And
I remember that.
I have thoughts on that. I thought about it last week, but it's relevant more now. I have a little caveat with that.
Okay.
They close by saying that engagement on the Xbox platform is at an all-time high. Microsoft says that they are well over 500 million monthly players, and over the last year, we've seen consistent growth in monthly users on cloud. Regarding the report's claims on Azure servers and the Activision deal not being a catalyst to get other studios to release their games on Game Pass, Insider Gaming was told by sources close to the Game Pass business that the information's report conflates an opinion that developers are scared of profit loss with the fact that the business is already set up to pay developers upfront if that's their choice for how they want to structure the deal. All right, so there's a lot of jumping off points here. For those who don't remember, again, last week, this report was really detailing that Xbox has not seen a lot of growth in the terms of like Game Pass deals since Activision joined the company, that their kind of grand plan of like selling more Azure service space to other developers wasn't working. And that right now Call of Duty is still being hosted on, I think, Google and Amazon, as well as Activision's own servers. I want to start off with what Satya said about being all in on gaming. Mm-hmm. This is purely anecdotal, but that video was random. That shit just came out of nowhere. There was no like event that was happening. There was no Xbox milestone. It was just like it felt like, now seeing this and then them pointing to that, mm-hmm. It felt like something happened and they wanted to make a statement to their fans. Like, we're all in on gaming, which them bringing it up, I thought about it last week. I'm like, maybe it's just contradicting, but looking at it now, as Microsoft using it as defense, it feels like they went like, hey, we're going to wind this out entirely. No, here's the game plan. We're going to go out, get Bethesda. We're going to increase our annual revenue by X%. And he's like, okay, then we'll do this. And we're going to go all in on gaming. And he's like, we need a public commitment from you. Mm-hmm. And it felt like there was a level of, not a bad way, by the way, because we see what it's earned, right? Whether it's all Activision or no Activision, they've been making a lot of money, but then they go all in on gaming, truly. I think the problem really does stem from the lack of numbers that are shared by Xbox. I think this is a non-story if they're not sharing percentage growths and whatnot. And frankly, in some sense, the numbers don't lie. Just looking at this last year or so, they are making a lot of money, which is what we've been saying. We're like, look, Xbox as a whole is not going anywhere because they're making so much money. Maybe as a hardware manufacturer, that changes. But you can see the points of Activision versus the Xbox brand as a whole. They're miles apart, man. Miles apart, unfortunately. And I don't want it to be that way, but these numbers aren't just like a recent example. We talked about, like, in a post-Starfield world, the lack of a bump there. I can only imagine 2022's numbers were not great if we went ahead and dug those up.
Right.
So there is a level of like the business was wavering until Activision stepped in, where I feel like, and these are your words, so I'll kick it to you. Maybe the truth lies in the middle somewhere.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. And, like, I keep it fair, with both sides, even platforms I like. I always feel like, look, first of all, shout out to them for getting in front of a story, because I am very big on companies refuting things that they feel are not true. right? And I want to play it fair on both sides, right? Now, where I'm with you, Maddie, is that there's always nuggets of truth in certain things, right? You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad they got Rob Front and you know, kind of quote unquote debunked a lot of the things that the information report is saying that, hey, it's nuanced, it's lacking a lot of context. No, this didn't happen. Hey, games and services continue to go up quarter after quarter. You know, 2021 was not the year. But I'm with you too, Maddie, in the sense of, okay, that may be the case. Maybe it wasn't 2021, right? But we have to admit that public facing showcase by Satya, to me, I have to look at it like, okay, a conversation was had at some point that now, whether it be Phil with the pitch to him to say, we need to be all, and I believe Satya did say that, like, you know, why do we need to be all in on it? You know, the future is bright. He had the Halo Infinite shirt and showing this
only time I've ever seen Satya wearing gaming merch, by the way.
That is the
out there.
only time.
Yeah,
I remember, you're right. He had the blue Halo Infinite shirt. And I remember, and I was like, prior to that, like I said, I know, you know, Phil doesn't get a lot of love on his platform, but at the end of the day, I remember that was when the daily transition, you saw his title change, right? And it was like CEO of Microsoft Gaming in the game. And then we saw the regime. So there was some shift and a discussion of what I consider a recommitment by the top to say, this is no longer the boutique brand and you are not a side project. You are not some little startup business. No, you are a part at the table. So what I feel is, I agree with you, Betty, in the sense that, your revenue's up. You want to debunk that. You want to say Activision is a huge part. You want to debunk that. Fine. But we have to admit, because you don't say Game Pass growth numbers, right? We have to admit that there is a pivot and now you're multi-platform, right? And you're almost this biggest publisher in the world that happens to have a console. That is still a shift from your initial vision. So something had to change. That's all we're saying. So again, not saying you're lying, but this could be nuggets of truth on both sides. I don't want to completely destroy the information's report on every single level. That's what I'm saying. There may be a nugget of truth here and there. They just clarify stuff. But again, I love the fact that they got on that. And I think the last thing was talk about the Azure part, you know what I'm saying? Because I know that was a big part as far as like whether or not, you know, why they're not using it. Maybe Azure growth should have been bigger. I think that was part of the information growth. Call of Duty's not using it. And I have heard inside that transition process is way more intricate than people think. And it's not because, it's taking too long, the game's lazy. People have to, I'll give y'all a nugget. And this is because I'm an IT guy and I can speak on this part. It's not even just integrating two companies together. That's a whole undertaking in itself. When you take on the whole of ABK, which is humongous, but people have to understand, like, remember Microsoft, they were just recently dealing with, the Cloudflare joint? And remember the flights was good. Like Microsoft's tech was behind that, right? So they had to up their level, right? You got to understand, when you bring in another company, they're not up to your speed. This is government level, you know what I'm saying? So part of this is now integrating as a whole. We can't even deal with you until you get your levels up, ABK. Bethesda. You know what I'm saying? That's why things take longer, because we got to do back end stuff before we can even think about doing it. Otherwise, you may jeopardize the business. Which and we know Call of Duty hasn't had the greatest reputation over the years, you know what I'm saying, with just security and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to tell gamers. Gamers can't look at it like, you guys are being lazy. No, they're away from a tech standpoint and a stack and a behind the scene, like infrastructure standpoint. There is so much work to be done. And remember, you can only start once the deal is closed and it's official. You can't do any preemptive strikes and start work that will violate and validate the deal. So that's pretty much what it is. But we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, I think that glad they did talk about it, but we do know there's some form of a pivot. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, someone should just tell Xbox to check their email system. They have all the high tech in the world, bro, but their leaks come from emails constantly.
Remember that. And then remember, I'm glad you said email.
Yeah.
Remember when we were on them about the Italian Souls game and Anotria? I always butcher that name. Remember that one?
Anotria, yeah.
Anotria.
Yeah.
You know what the reason was behind that?
Oh, no.
Bro, the reason was behind that is because I guess the way their the email system, and it was they had to change the way they receive things during this whole hacking era. That was a big part of it. And they had to get them straightened out. That was a whole security thing. The way things are. So again, they are still going through a lot of this stuff. But yeah, they need to clear it up.
Such a strange company.
Yeah.
Such a strange
big tech,
company.
man. Big tech. That's what happens.
Yeah. I think, if we're looking at the information report, like what might have been true from all of that, I would say probably had to do with Game Pass. Like, there's no way they are going to hit 100 million subscribers by 2030. That can't be true. Detaching Satya's bonus from that, I think, is evidence of such. So, that's where the pivot comes in. It's like, you don't just say, well, our goal is 100 million subscribers and we're going to put these games everywhere. Like, you wanted to drive as many people to the Xbox platform. That's changed. So like the fact that you're okay with the declining hardware sales, something's changed, right? That would normally be like code red for any company that's trying to drive people to that console. So something definitely changed. A lot of people are quick to be like, bro, dismiss this entire report. I'm like, look, as much as I wish we had this part of the story in our initial talk about it, like, dude, I mean, I don't think it's worth throwing away entirely. I think there is truth in that article.
I'm with you on and remember, I think the conversations we always had with Colin, and I remember saying it's like, look, in some way they must have had a number prior to acquisition of ABK that the math works if they hit the target. And I don't know if the number was 100. Maybe they say, they disputed it because the number was 75. But whatever the number was, they did not hit that number. And thus we are getting a pivot. I agree with that, Paul. I mean, everything else, that's cool. You can, debunk and say everything else. But I do feel there's some truth to that part. I agree.
Yeah. So that's where we're at with the information, what's going on with the Xbox business. Let's move over to the PlayStation side of the business, because I was going through the thread, and the most write-ins we got was on this subject here, which I found very interesting. But there's been a little bit of a change in the tide. The general synopsis is, and I didn't pick these particular write-ins because it felt like a lot of kind of attempting to clap back and fight, but a lot of it was like, has Xbox missed a grand opportunity this generation with how many times PlayStation has messed up with the remasters, the remakes, and of course, now their live service initiative, which is, as I'll go into great detail here, a complete failure. So PlayStation's live service initiative has gone up in flames. Following Concord, the Blue Team has moved to cancel 2 ongoing projects in development, according to Bloomberg. One hails from Blue Point, a widely celebrated remake team that's best known for their work on Demon's Souls and Shadow of the Colossus remake, respectively. It is said that they were handed the reins on a God of War live service title. The other was Bend Studio, who has not released a game since Days Gone. And now they are both moving on to work on something else after multiple years of developing these live service titles. Amjad is the first write-in here for this subject. Hey, Dukes, longtime listener, first-time writer. It's time for some theory crafting. With PlayStation's major live service disaster, the future of PS5's first-party output looking slim. I don't think that they can improve the output till PS6, especially considering how long it takes to develop games these days. Here's my what if. What if Xbox games never came to PlayStation? With Xbox building a strong lineup of exclusives, could we see the tides finally turn in Xbox's favor? I'll stop rambling now. Eager to hear your thoughts. I think we'll always go back to square one with this type of question, right? Which is like, look, they've had moments where they've had the games, but like Cog said, like, we don't like your album, B. Like, that's it. And so they don't want to play over there. And so we're seeing the sales that happen in some cases for Xbox. And this year in particular will be very telling. But where Xbox brings games over to another platform and they're just like, again, Sea of Thieves is our best example right now of just really great sales. This year, though, will be a really telling story. If the rumors are true, we have the story later. Halo, maybe even Starfield. Starfield's the one. That's the one I'll be watching, because there's going to be a lot of humming if all of a sudden I see that shit just going like this on the sale chart. When we got harassed weekly for daring to be excited about that game, I will always remember that stretch of being like, miserable motherfuckers. Like, really?
Bro, that was really hating on someone's joy or something.
Bad, dude. I almost forgot about that now because it's been a decent amount of time, but that was the worst time to be running this show. I was like, yeah, man, we're excited for this game. Like, just good times all around. And people were like, fuck you. Like, what the fuck, man?
It was a certain contingent, bro. Yeah. Woo! Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't even be excited about something. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. But What we have here is a really interesting story that I wanted to talk about because I love PlayStation and I have great frustration with their direction this generation. When people, and they'll lose their minds this week too, when I say this generation or when I talk about PlayStation failing, it's not about, same thing with Xbox. Xbox by all technicality isn't failing, right? You look at their earnings, you go, they're doing great this generation. They're making a lot of money. They're not by all technicality failing. And the same could apply to PlayStation. Consoles are selling by the millions. Their holiday sales were great. They had the game of the year last year. They had Helldivers last year. Like, they have great third-party deals. Like, they are doing great this generation in many ways. But when I say a failure, what I mean is by direction initiative. Xbox's generation this year was a failure. They had one game plan in mind, which was to win back the audience, storm out the gates. They went a full year without any type of first-party games and have pivoted to multi-platform. PlayStation, what makes them a failure this generation? When they started things off, one of the leading stories for this generation was 10 plus live service games by 2026. That has been an outright failure from top to bottom. In fact, what PlayStation is going through, anyone who's paid attention to the industry knew this was going to fail, because when you think about it, it's very similar to Bethesda. You've cultivated a particular type of talent. In the case of Bethesda, right, it was like, hey, we got BGS, single player RPG. We got Arcane, immersive sims, stealth games. And what do they start putting these guys on? Machine games, high narrative focused first person shooters. What do they put these guys on? Co-op games, live service games. And what happened to Bethesda? They went right down the tubes and had to sell off. When you look at PlayStation and the teams that they've amassed, I don't want anyone for a damn second to try to tell me that it's a good idea to put a remake studio on a fucking live service game, especially a God of War live service game. I can't think of two worse ingredients to put into a recipe than that. Bluepoint has proven themselves time in, time out. If at anything, they deserve to go make their own thing, as far as I'm concerned. They deserve to go out there. They've earned it. They've learned. They're great at their trade, but they've learned through working with these games what they would probably want to do. And I think they earned that right, and PlayStation ripped them off with that one. But the other thing is, PlayStation has such a deep, rich history with so much nostalgia. And in an era of remakes that are they're some of the best-selling games because that's all people want to buy because they feel like safe purchases. Because nowadays, games qualities are like this, just a complete roller coaster. It's like, oh, that thing I loved when I grew up. Nice. No doubt I'm going to buy that. When you're PlayStation, you hold that much power over people's nostalgia, and you dedicate the team that can do that the best, can harness that energy the best, to go and make a live service game. A God of War live service game might be the worst green light next to Concord. That is an awful idea. I don't need to see the game. That is an awful idea. Whoever greenlit that should not be in the building anymore, as far as I'm concerned. That is a terrible fucking idea. And I feel bad for Ben too, man. To go from Days Gone, which was kind of the black sheep of the PS4 generation, a lot of people, especially the LSM audience, and I know Colin in particular, found a lot of love with this game. Like, it's not perfect. It certainly compared to that pantheon of titles coming out with your Horizons and everything, Last of Us, people weren't feeling like Days Gone was quite that level, but it was still quite good. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but I respected it. And I know a lot of people like this game a lot. To kind of dick these guys around and throw them into live service now, bad choice. I'm sorry, bad choice. This is bad studio management. And I can't sit here and act like PlayStation's having a great generation if their initiative was, hey, we have these great single player open world titles, and to continue to make them the way we're making them, we need these live service games. So I worry what's going to happen to the other hand now. You apparently needed these live service games and a lot of them to pop off.
Did you hear what Yoshida said in reference to what you just said?
Yeah, he said he wouldn't have done it.
No, but in order to now support said single player games, he's begging PlayStation users to support all the remasters to help fund the single player games now, because just on its own is not enough.
Yeah.
And I had to interrupt real quick. I'll give it back to you. I had to check myself. I've been on this platform multiple times and said I felt PlayStation has been creatively dishonest because of the remasters, right? And I part of me stood on it because I was like, I don't want that, right? But then hearing the state of things, because the Yoshida interview, shout out to him, was extremely informative when he said, no, they need that more than ever now to fund the games you want. I'm like, wow, it blew me away. But I wanted to give it back to you because that I thought was very intriguing. He dropped a lot of nuggets now that he's free. You know what I mean? You can get what's behind it. And, he also mentioned how kind of felt that because of his resistance to the overcommitment to the live service movement in Sony, he felt that's why he was let go. He didn't even, he kind of joked, he kind of literally said it. I was like, yo. But I give it back to you. I thought that was very interesting.
And so with that in mind, if people are wondering why I beat the war drum so hard on the economy of games, listen to what Cog just said. I'm glad you brought it up. Games cannot, like, this is what I talked about with Xbox breaking down the walled garden and shit. I'm like, things could have existed as is. There was no need to chase this arbitrary sense of growth that all these companies across the world are seemingly pushing for right now. There was no need. The economy of the games and how they are made is broken. And like Sean Layden said years ago, we will still be trending in that direction until games get smaller. And when they get smaller, they will get cheaper in some regards. They're still going to be expensive to make like a AAA game where you're paying specialists for every part of the job. Don't get me wrong. You're still going to have high cost games, but there is a way to mitigate that more. And if you're at a point where you are a leader in your genre, like PlayStation, not all their games are for me nowadays, for sure. But if you were a leader in the open world RPG kind of development, some of the most popular games made, some of the most recognizable IP made, and you need another type of game to sell to uphold that part of the business, your business is broken. And it's not just a PlayStation problem. That's why they're chasing the live service bucks. It's this golden goose that is way too hard to capture because it's a mixture of like zeitgeist and originality. You know, everyone, you see all these, the reason we see all these copycats is because you have, like Cogs talked about, the Sinister Six, and everyone's trying to make their own sub villain, their B villain, their B tier villain that joins that crew occasionally in spin-off episodes, right? And I think all these companies have just continued to learn the same lesson, like WB. Oh, you guys like superhero games? Bang. One of the biggest failures we've seen. Concord, like, oh, PlayStation's like live service. Bang, this is our baby. Herman Hulst loves this game. 400 million down the tubes. Can you imagine how much money PlayStation has collectively flushed this generation down the toilet when it comes to canceled projects? Here's the problem too. They canceled possibly the one live service style game that could have saved the initiative. And it was Naughty Dog's.
Yeah, The Last of Us faction.
The fact that, again, I've said this a million times before, but especially knowing how much Bungie, who I loved older Bungie, but how much Bungie is hoodwinked the fuck out of PlayStation, that they got an opportunity to sit at that table and have even 1% of a fucking decision made on what was going to happen with Naughty Dog, the face of PlayStation's future. I would have been, if I was like Neil, I would have, get the fuck out of here right now, bro. Pete, take a seat, bro. Get the fuck out of here. That is unbelievable to me. So that's why I go hard in the PlayStation business. I got love for their IP. They've made a lot of great choices this generation too. Again, I've always gone in on, I love the platinum trophies, the classic approach, getting their cloud streaming right, the way they've updated PS Portal. I use that thing way more than I used to. Like, they've done a lot of great things this generation, just like I think Xbox has. But by all intents and purposes, PlayStation's direction this generation, what they needed to do to uphold their side of the business, has been a failure. And there will be cascading consequences, whether people want to admit it or not, just like it was with Xbox. Take it from us.
Take it from us. We know.
Take it from us. We know. Look at where we're at. I'm not saying PlayStation going to be in that area.
I was there to say,
but
you're right.
Take it from us, especially when Xbox had that big Microsoft pocketbook to dip into. I'm very interested to see what PlayStation does here, because I think if the economies of the game of games are broken, and your whole initiative to maintain that economy has failed, what do you do now? Especially when you were granted all of that extra money. Remember, it was like millions and millions and millions of dollars to put into that live service initiative that could have gone to the single player stuff. So again, man, I can't help but look at that and be like, how does anyone feel good about their future right now with how they're kind of nickel and diming you, and the thing that they needed to succeed to keep up that thing that you care about most is now failing? I think drastic changes are inbound over time. There's the numbers don't add up for how important the PlayStation business is to Sony as a whole. It's their leading revenue generator. They cannot let it slip. So it's going to be like an iron death grip on that thing on how do we get that money back, if at all. So I'm very saddened by this news, because it's like there was no reason why Blue Point, maybe Ben you can get away with, but there's no reason why Blue Point should have been working on a live service game. I think that's terrible. Yeah, I got to listen to what the Sacred Boys think about it. I didn't get a chance to hear the episode.
I got a chance to listen to it. Yeah, they went in. Colin went in. Shout out to the Ray Gunn and Dustin and everything. They had their comments, and I echo a lot of it. I think that I want to backtrack to what you said in reference to because there's a lot of talk about, and I get it. As a gamer, you like, yeah, good, they canceled that, right? Now they're on the right track. I don't want the live. That's all well and good as a gamer, but that doesn't account for the financial hole you've put yourself in, the resources that you've lost, and now the talent, similar to BioWare, where people came to BioWare to like, yo, we're going to make BioWare games. Nah, fam, you're going to make Anthem. Get in the corner. What? This is not why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like that. You remember that? Like, and think about BioWare, now compared to BioWare it's not the same. So you lose that aspect. Another aspect I want to mention is what, again, highly recommend people listen to the Yoshida interview in the sense that I never knew, like the thought process was always like, okay, Xbox is just a little side project. They could fail a zillion times. They got daddy Microsoft to help out, right? That was kind of always the consensus, unwritten, unspoken thing, right? Kind of thing when it comes to the Xbox hardware business, the Xbox gaming division, right? And now we know that they're at the table that finally, they have to earn now. Clearly, the game's got to go everywhere. They're going to have to earn now. But the thing that I found interesting was the PS3 era what Yoshida was talking about. And he said, look, we were done. Like the cell process, the architecture, the pressure of the Xbox 360, all this stuff. He said we were all concerned for our jobs in this gaming division as a whole. And the key thing he said, if it wasn't for Sony proper at the time, who was doing well in the flat screen era, the Vega TV era, all my OGs know about the Sony Vega line. That was when Sony was, the rest of the hardware business was doing their thing outside of gaming. And they came from the top and say, okay, we're going to save this division and we're going to allow you to make a PS4, but you got to course correct. So it goes to show you a series of errors can doom you in a generation. It is a fact. It can happen. We've seen it. So back to the other thing, and you made the points about, we're going to get into the game, the studios and the horrible decisions there. Because this is mismanagement on the highest level. Herman Hulse, Jim Ryan, whoever. I definitely now believe Jim Ryan's exit had a little bit more to do than, he just want to go off to the pasture to retire. Yeah. I feel that now. I'm sorry if I'm going to infer that, but I'm standing on that one until I hear otherwise.
So I joked, what did I say, last week or 2 weeks ago? I said the best thing Jim Ryan did was just stagger Xbox.
Install the deal. Yeah.
That
was the best thing he did.
Yeah, literally. It's so funny to think about.
Bro, it's crazy. So you got that. Herman, who now, I don't say he's been relieved, but I don't know if y'all been playing. Hiroki Totoki, do not be about that BS. Yo, all of y'all are terrible. What the hell's going on? Now we got a cold kind of leadership with, I forgot the other gentleman's name. And then Herman is now in the, what you call it, division, the American division. But it's a different structure is what I'm basically going. And now he's literally going through every studio, walking through like Darth Vader and check, like it is that type of energy over there. Like he said, I'm not making this up. Go see his statements. I highly recommend people to listen to Hiroki talk. So you got that. So this is my theory. My theory is, I'm gonna be honest, and I think this is the Jim Ryan part. Call it the ABK acquisition threw them off because there's a part of them that's like, yo, we don't need to worry about that. We got the largest install base. We're making the most revenue by ABK, and we got the marketing for Call of Duty. We're the de facto place for multiplayer, the biggest game. We don't have to worry about a live service output, none of that. When that was swooped up in the middle of the night and you lose that revenue source that you once always, can count on, and now and then at that time, they thought maybe it could go exclusive. So there was a fear at that. So thus I always remember the timing. That not saying that it was 1000% reactionary at the moment it happened, but I definitely feel it accelerated the Bungie deal that they were working on to close Bungie.
Yeah. Because
that helps you. You're like, yo, we got to do something. And thus the live service push. And me and you both agree, bro, I'm on record for saying it's not wrong to do live service. I do think Sony needed to do the multiplayer, but not 12. You got 12? You got every studio damn near in the building working on the lives? That's excessive. That is too much. And that to me is stakeholder. That's greed. We want one of them Sinister Sixes. Bro, look at this list, bro. Bro, I covered, my last PlayStation Studios game I covered was actually Days Gone. I went with the devs. It was a packed interview. I was super impressed with the scope of the game and the whole stuff like that. they couldn't get a Days Gone 2. They got, the what you call it, unannounced game of service, it did cancel. Denied to make Days Gone 2, right? Blue Point, we already went into it. I'm with you, Maddie. Like, I don't see how any scenario where a God of War live service could be fun because the characters are too tied to it. So you're going to have to talk to some unknown characters and that just see what you're going to do to gods. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Bungie looked like a lemon. We got to be real.
Yeah.
Complete lemon. Payback was canceled. Fire Sprite, Twisted Metal Game Service canceled. Firewalk, Concord, biggest flop in gaming history. Canceled. Studio closed. Right? Deviation Game.
Canceled. All the stats.
I'm not playing because I always hear about mismanagement. You know what I'm saying? I always hear about stuff. So let's talk about it, right? Deviation Games, new IP canceled, studio shut down. Insomniac. Even this one I was pulling for. Remember the Great Web Lives? That one I'm like, maybe you could play because there's a bunch of
Spider-Man co-op kind of thing.
Yeah, I was like, there's a bunch of characters in the universe that maybe they could pull it off. But we got that. But we also know because of the leaks, Wolverine, the creative director, left for Xbox Perfect Dark, and then game director replaced. So we have to admit that looks shaky, at least for right now, until we see more. London studio shut down, working on a AAA IP fantasy title. Cancel, entire studio closed. Naughty Dog factions we went into. Final Strike Games, new AAA IP PvP shooter, canceled. Again, take the fanboy stuff out of it. If you just list the names and the studio closures and the project shutdown, if this was any other publisher, we would be saying this is the gross use of resources and mismanagement we've ever seen. And you had the biggest flop in the gaming history. This is, again, you are very fortunate that you are selling consoles right now and that your brand, the brand strength is good, right? But at the end of the day, do you know how long it's going to take for all these studios to recover, to start the reset button to put games out again? We could be talking at the start of the PS6 era. And I knew it was a red flag when they were talking about you only getting 2 IPs a game. And then for the rest, you're going to have to potentially money hat like a Stellar Blade or, you know what I mean? To make things like how they did with Final Fantasy. Again, this is not a recipe for long-term success. That's what I'm just trying to say. Something has to change. And in the industry, like Layden and other people have been saying, hey, these games are too expensive. We even saw with the Insomniac leaks. The games are too expensive. The license costs too much. Hey, we got to break up the sequel. Remember? If we're going to do it, we got to split Spider-Man into 2 games. This is too much, bro. So again, it just breaks my heart because as a person who loves the Sony brand, what they stood for, what they represent, like I come from the Ishida era, and to see this just gross overcommitment to this thing and now the course correction, it's been a reason why I haven't been playing on that platform. I'll just be honest. It just hasn't, it don't look familiar to me. Now, Ghost of Yota, absolutely. I'll be there day one. You know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens with Death Stranding. But yeah, this is bad. There's no sugarcoating this. This is serious mismanagement. So let's see what happens.
Agreed. We do have one final write-in here from Florida Man who says, hello, Dookies. So I have a question. And I wonder if this generation, games aside of consoles and marketing moves and company strategies, has made it a complete failure. I don't mean the games haven't been great. I mean, between the misinformation from both Sony and Microsoft to layoffs to just plain mismanagement of property, it seems like this has been one of the most difficult to be excited for generations of gaming. Thanks, and have a congrats to my Ohio State Buckeyes as national champions kind of day. Great write-in, Florida Man. Yeah, I share this. I do share this. I was thinking about it just last night. I was like, my game tastes are dramatically changing by nature of this generation, right? Like I was in cruise control for a while. I knew what I liked. It was all reliable. That was like simple and clean. But this generation has just been so many lies. So many times I see things that I go like, is this, again, we think about the God of War live service game getting greenlit as a recent example. And I'm like, that just, the word how comes to mind, as in not like just how do you greenlight this, but how do you think anybody would actually be excited about this? And I feel like in the chase for the golden goose, a lot of these companies have lost what makes these games sell a lot. Excitement. Dude, look at any game okay, we're talking about PlayStation still. Helldivers 2. Obviously, it's a great game, but Zeitgeist is a very real propellant in game sales. Don't act like, I'd say an extra 40% of those sales didn't come from like, oh, you got it? Oh, man, this looks awesome. Like, I want to get on that and jumping in. Like, it starts obviously with making a great game and getting it that attention, but then the excitement propels it. And I feel like these companies are missing out on that aspect because they're just trying to look at it in designing games by a business. It's something I've talked about with Xbox, designing by a business. It's why when I talked about it on Summon Sign with KCD2, I can feel some of the business decisions made with that game. Like, oh, let's have this long prologue because we're expecting more sales. So we're going to kind of reduce, I think, the player experience early on for the returning fan. And for the new fan, though, this will be great. Right? And we're not going to make this skippable. Just small things like that. I'm just noticing more and more in games where I'm like, why are we making things, even great games like KCD, why are we making things like this where the business is coming first? That's not how it should be. I should never once be thinking about when I'm playing your games like, oh, this is great for your bottom line, or oh, this is great for sales, or this is great for a particular player. It's like, it's a video game. It is a world you should be sucking me into, and I should not be thinking about any fucking great choices you've made on behalf of other players or other businesses. It should just be about the experience itself. As far as I'm concerned, call me a purist, but that's what I think makes it very difficult to be excited for things this generation. Is just the way games are made and where the focus is. You know, you are what you focus on. And a lot of companies have shown when they focus on just a Space Marine 2, a Baldur's Gate 3, just immediately come to mind of like either fun-filled games or just really player-centric decisions made and how they absolutely should reap the benefits of those choices. Versus something like a Concord, which is a design by committee checklist game. Did we hit this? Did we hit that? Did we hit that? Suicide Squad. Did we hit this? Did we hit that? Did we hit that? And you get a lot of that this generation. And that's why I think the unfortunate noise is ramped up on social media because, while I don't agree with them all, there's just been a lot of crap in a row where they feel they got a leg to stand on. It's like, again, you reap what you sow. And so I hope leading into this eventual next generation, like this is one I would love to see cut short. I'm sorry, we need to hit the reset button, bro. I'll spend another $500 on a new system if we can just do this all over again. 100%.
I think I feel you, man. You spitting. There's a lot here. It's tough, man, because I feel you to your soul. From the gamer purist in me feels you. I do have to push back on one thing.
What?
It is not your fault. I feel gamers, we be talking that talk, but when it comes to actually supporting the purist game, the game that literally does not put the business in the boardroom first, we don't support. And what I see is I look at stuff like Hi-Fi Rush. I look at, we have enough examples where we go, man, this game was amazing and nobody brought it. Right. And it's like, we're like, damn, it should have been bigger than what it was, kind of thing. And then you got, I don't want to say, live service game B that catches super fire. And I think a lot of it does have to do with COVID first. Let's go back. I was at Meta. I saw the overcommitment at that time. Right. It's like, oh my God, look how many people are turning on Quest devices. Oh my God, look, VR, we are here, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, same thing. Yo, look at all the active users on Xbox and PlayStation, right? Oh my, this is how it's going to be. Everybody has now discovered video games. We're going to be here for years, fellas. Bro, rack it up. Let's hire a bunch. Let's get run the numbers up. We're going to run it up on these guys. This is what they want. And then as soon as normalcy started to get back and society started to reintegrate and people stopped staying home and getting back into society, oh, snap. You see the MAUs next month? So that's the first thing. Not saying that is definitely a factor with the overcommitment. The two is just that, again, to your point, stakeholders, they see these Marvel rivals. They like, we gotta have one of those, bro. You mean to tell me we can't have one of those? And that's the pressure. So, okay, if you're gonna make a single plan, can't you have like a little online something? Can't you throw a little micro transact? You know what I'm saying? Come on, like they like, bro, like that's not that Hellblade is nice, but like, where's the co-op though? You see what I'm saying? Like that's the conundrum, because the sad reality is a lot of these games that we like don't. Did you hear what Yoshida said about Spider-Man 2? He was like, bro, if you would have told me Helldivers would have blasted Spider-Man 2 out the water, then they say, you know what? They asked, Greg asked him, what was the greatest, disappointment? He said Horizon.
Yeah.
He was like,
I remember that. Yeah.
He was just like, they didn't support the sequel like that. And, I'm very, and if you look at them, you could tell, I think a lot of it has to do with Herman because his Gorilla Ties. That's just my guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, bro, let's be real. Come on. Yeah, he has made it very, and I say this with no disrespect. We all have our favorites, but you can feel where his favorites are.
Lego game 2, so one just got cut down. The MMO just got cut down yesterday, and they still got another live service game, and it was still the flagship title for PSVR 2, which I had.
Lord help him if that game sucks. By the way, if the Horizon Online game sucks, because then the favoritism looks really bad. It's like, yo, you greenlit that,
and this is the same man. Who said Concord would be our Star Wars. Yeah. This is the guy who was like, we cannot. They bought the studio for this guy. You want to talk about mismatch? Yeah, everybody's calling for jobs. Like, bro, he said it. I was like, I don't want to hear anything else about any other regime after these decisions. Could you have someone looking at this and say, yo, bro, 15 years, bro, we lit. That's the new Star Wars. We got it, bro. Concord run the numbers up. Okay, so let's move on. But anyway, I'm gonna say, I know I'm being messy, but I gotta be real. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I think it's a combination of gamers. We don't necessarily support these games that are these very high quality, but maybe not, black hole style games. And I think it's just the business is very expensive, man. These games cost a lot. But I do think Sean Layden, last what I'll say is I do think Sean Layden's point. We got to get back to the smaller. You know what I'm saying? We got to get back to bringing these budgets down, making, smart decisions and stuff like that. And then I forgot that we didn't answer Homeboy, our guy's question in reference to the future. The problem for Xbox and all this is I got to be fair and give slander, on both sides here. It was set up for them. Could you imagine if they didn't have the multi-platform strategy right now? And you've got this, and you've got the champ on the ropes. The champ he's almost got to stand in
this year coming up. Like, I know we always say next year's Xbox year, but you really look at this year, lay it out. Like, there's a lot of games. It's a lot of opportunities for success is how we'll word it. Yeah.
Bro, you got Thanos on the ropes. You like, oh, he's out of here. We got him now. We waited. We build up. We trade. Oh, we got the studios to line up. All right, we're going to give you all our games now. Because their strategy had to pivot because let's be honest, it's clear as day that they didn't meet these whatever internal targets and thus the shift from them to be the multiplayer. That's the biggest irony as an Xbox hardcore fan. You waited every year till next year was going to be your year. And then when it finally comes, you can't sustain it. And now you got to pivot and do this. And now you got to help these guys stay alive by help yourself stay alive by having, in order to sustain your model. That's really how I internalize it. I look at it as an Xbox fan. Look, I always said I don't want the pillar franchise going anywhere, but if this allows me to have Game Pass and to play these games with the ecosystem I want, then fine. But there's a part of irony that does suck. That if they could have held the fort and not made bad decisions and not have a 2022 and not whatever all the things that happened, or the ABK took too long, they would have conquered Thanos. There would have been no need for Endgame. It would have been over after Infinity War.
Yeah, I don't know if you eventually catch up to PlayStation hardware sales. Not that you were saying that. I think that's probably what they were looking at ultimately. But there is something to be said about what PlayStation did to Xbox during what is considered their greatest era, right? Like PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, even if 360 stopped printing and they moved on, et cetera, whatever they did, it doesn't matter. Is that PlayStation still managed to catch up in some way, shape, or form. And by the end of the PS3, they were putting out what is one of the best games of all time in The Last of Us. So they got their act together. And I feel like Xbox, I know you can't just look at history, but look, guys, my emotions, I'm telling you, we could do something like this. But gamers are a pendulum that swings, man.
Yeah.
And so I that's the thing that upsets me is I feel like this could be a different feeling generation. I know. Yeah. I think it was just inevitable, though. There were just, as I've said, there were just so many rakes along the road that Xbox stepped on that were so greatly frustrating that it's hard to imagine a generation where these missteps didn't happen. There were some that, again, like, I don't blame them for, like, Hi-Fi Rush. It's like, yes, should they have marketed it? Sure. But I'll always remember that moment. That was so exciting as a gamer, just like, oh my God, this is, because I remember seeing it's like, oh, it's like a little 2-hour game or something like that. And they gave us like day one, a full 10-hour experience. The shit was, I will always remember that. That was such a cool, that was a peak Xbox moment for me and many others. So like, I'll always remember that. So there's things that I feel like easy to blame them for, but like, I think they had us in mind where I can't hate them too much for that. But like, even when again, I always say Starfield not moving the needle was like, if that's how your business is operating and you have a game that's a top 10 seller in the year and it's pushing Game Pass numbers, that you had 300,000 plus concurrent players on Steam, even though you were a day one Game Pass game, like you're selling, you're doing everything. And it's like, hey, we moved under 5% for the quarter.
Yeah.
That depicts it was inevitable. That just depicts that something was wrong with their business, that other parts weren't pitching in, more people weren't playing as they should have, whatever it may be. Where the Xbox business, I think, was just doomed to shift this year with how the economy of the industry went, which is sad, but it is what it is. And so I guess I don't really linger on like, what if they hung in there? Because I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I don't think there's a world where they do, because I mean, again, the hardware was neck and neck out the gate, but there was that slip in 2022. And I think that combined with the Bethesda delays, that was really, I think, the banana peel when you look at it.
2022 was brutal.
To just have no like games at all. That was the first time people were like, why did I buy an Xbox? And it's easy to forget now because we've re-experienced this so many times. But to have that feeling like 2 years after your $500 purchase, which I know games and everything have just gone up so much since then, but like to feel that really closely to I wouldn't even say 2 years, a little bit over a year, right? Because we get our consoles in November of 2020, and then a little bit over that full year, you enter January and they're like, hey, y'all, so got some really bad news for you. You get Grounded and Pentiment, which Grounded you already had, and that's it. I mean, you're eating table scraps, bro.
And then your competition is banging out. I think Sony did have some joints that year, man.
I think they had Ragnarok.
Yeah, they had Ragnarok. They had some joints, man. And that's the thing. So you couple that. And I even go a step further. I still, man, you're right. For it's the series console, I will pick 2022. I think you nailed it with the series. But as far as Xbox as a whole, I will put it back on Yoshida and what's his name? House?
Oh, trading games.
That was the moment. Because first of all, you're a meme.
Yeah.
You're a laughing stock at that moment. That is complete brand depreciation. And your messaging during the Dawn era was like, oh, what do you mean? You I can't trade. I can't go to GameStop with you. I gotta be online with you. Remember, the message was so horrible. Like, we were like, what are they doing? People were like, yo, they got a spy camera, bro. Like, they remember that? They was like, bro, like, yo, that connect. And then always online, evil Microsoft, bro. Remember?
Yeah.
They so much dispelling. And here comes Sony with the perfect counter. So you ruin that.
Business as usual. Yeah.
Oh, it was masterful. But here's the key. Not only did you say this is how you trade games, now this is the start of the digital era. And I never forget, Matty. All my 360 friends said, God, I love you, but I am not getting that Xbox One. And this joint is more powerful and $100 cheaper. And thus the start of the digital library on PlayStation starts. Yeah. So now you're invested. And I've had this conversation with Colin. One of the reasons why it would be tough for him to make a transition to Xbox is it's like, bro, I got all my trophies here. You know what I'm saying? We would have to come up with something called like smart delivery entitlements or something where he could, every third party game for him to even want to consider being an ego. You've lost your core, and they all migrated over to PlayStation and now creating digital library. So it's like, I don't care what you do, Microsoft. It's like, I'm over here. Where does it come into my platform though? Okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'll wait. That's what happened. People are locked in. They spent money now. The digital, you lost, and Phil has been on record. They lost the generation they couldn't afford to lose. And it's been catch up ever since. It's been a whole bunch of public relations. Hey, we're good guys. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we're the guys to be. We're doing what you want. It's been that. They've been playing that. And that's what I feel ultimately was the single point that really the brand, even though the games got there and the studios eventually got there, but the brand, when you've got all this quality stuff and people still don't care. And then, you know what the key metric for me? Mm-hmm. I remember people telling me there's nothing on Xbox to play. There's nothing, no reason. As soon as that Sea of Thieves came over there, I'm like, how the hell is this the number one pre-ordered, most anticipated game on the PlayStation Store, better than their own exclusives? Yeah. So that just showed me guys like, yo, I don't care. I don't like your music, B. But when it's on my studio, playing on where I want to play it, oh yeah, I'll rock out. Yeah. That's what it is. That's my opinion. That's why I feel what happened.
The other thing that I think snuck up on people, just so we can round out the questions here and move on to the next topic, is I think that with oh my God, I'm losing my train of thought here.
You good.
Brain is not working. It's funny. We're doing this show earlier than usual. It's clear. My brain is just slowly.
You would think about other things that happened to the generation that may have contributed.
Yeah. Thank you. It was development cycles snuck up on us.
Yeah.
I think
call out.
When you saw the development cycles increasing, you really looked at Rockstar. You're like, man, it's a while since we heard from them, but that's the story for everyone now. Like, see you in 5-6 years. And I think when guilty as charged, by the way, just to be clear, when I saw Xbox buy all those teams up, I had the mindset. I was like, yo, next generation is gonna be sick. Like we were saying, by 2022, we're gonna get XYZ. I'm sure you would laugh if you listened to some of our older episodes of Duke.
Facts.
I'm sure people would laugh their asses off. I would too, because it's like, wow, we had no idea, because the economy of games has changed so much, but so is like how long they take to make them. And so there were, again, games like I don't mean to pick on it because I know it's love.
Go get your Hellblade set. Go get it in. No, it's fair.
The Hellblade 2 is like the one I go to in my head where I'm like, you bought this team, people had this vision in their heads, and they delivered the status quo for them after like 5 years from that purchase.
Length of time.
And it just, I think it worked against that hype Xbox needed, right? Like it's a great game for many, but for what Xbox needed and what was expected, you could argue part of what got Xbox in this position is imagination. My imagination got away from me in the scheme of things. Absolutely. It was not set in a reality of what Xbox's business was going to do. When a team like DigiSeries is cooking for a while, and hey, look, as much as I'm interested in South of Midnight, I didn't think Compulsion Games would be cooking for this long to make like what IGN's reporting is like a sub 10-hour game.
Right.
Wasn't anticipating that. So yeah, just interesting. Very interesting to just dissect the Xbox business, because I feel like there's just so many bullet points. You can make a whole conspiracy board.
Oh, yeah. Development cycles in conjunction, and this is development cycles across the board of the games industry. I remember when Ragnarok they showed me a GIF and they were like, yo, next year. And I was like, that didn't happen. The next year, we had to wait another. Like, it's to that point where the development cycles are much longer. And then, in everyone's defense, during a pandemic, on top of that, right? That is also a factor into it. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. All of this plays into a factor. And I definitely did. It did hurt. It hurt Xbox specifically. Because regardless to whatever I want to say, PlayStation, in their defense, they had some stuff ready. They had Demon Souls. They had a Spider-Man game ready to go. Whether it was cross-generational or not, they had stuff ready. And that really helped them during that barren period of the launch in 2020 of Xbox. It was very barren. No Infinite, remember? Yeah. Infinite was on the back of my Series X box.
It was, wasn't it? I forgot about that. Yeah. Yep. So a lot of moments we can point to, but I think it's been an unexciting generation, to say the least. All right, next up here, a little rumor. Xtasis has shared the following games will come to Nintendo Switch 2, two of which we've already heard about thanks to Nate the Hate and Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 and Halo the Master Chief Collection, but also thrown in here, Diablo 4, a Call of Duty game that is unknown at this time, Fallout 4, and Starfield.
Hey, now.
Yeah, I think 2025 is the year for Starfield to jump ship. Its player count is so low from at least Steam's perspective that this is the obvious shot in the arm it needs to. So I was thinking about it. I was like, how do you get people back into Starfield after Shattered Space? Like that was the Phantom Liberty moment we were hoping for. It's like, okay, well, you get more people at least into it. I'm just so curious. That is, again, we said it earlier, but that is the one when the sales charts hit, I will be pocket watching.
You got me thinking.
Yeah.
No, this is great. Let's focus on Starfield for a second. like I said, great interview. Miss Maddie plays God Howard, right? And having that, you got the nugget that they're going to be making content every year, right?
Yeah.
So what if you have the new expansion ready come Switch 2 to invigorate, right? Reinvigorate, has something, and then give an audience that never played, one of your games in there. That would be a good jumping off point. I'm very curious to see how it would go. Flight Simulator is kind of crazy to me because I want to know what type of sorcery they're going to do to get that over there, just because I know how much networking is involved and stuff like that.
That Wi-Fi adapter in there must be crazy, I guess. I guess Nintendo's getting with the times.
That's what I'm saying. Hopefully it's Wi-Fi 6 or something. I want to know what's going on with that.
Is there an Ethernet port on the Switch dock? I don't think there is, right? So
no, I had to literally buy a USB Ethernet accessory.
That's
what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't have much faith in that. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But the ones for me is Master Chief Collection. I think that could do something special for them.
Yeah.
Especially if they could get in that launch window. Yeah. And shout out to my man Chris very good, because he kind of I finally caught up to say he said the same thing I said on SummerSlam, which was like, there's a novelty to the Nintendo crowd playing a high quality first person shooter in the console space. That's something you don't see a lot in the Nintendo. No disrespect Metroid, but you know what I'm saying.
Metroid Prime's got 4 entries at this point. Yeah, so it's super rare.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you get a Master Chief Collection, and then you could, let's say that they got the gimmick with the local LAN and the Joy-Cons, and you get 8-10 switches in the room, and you get in the Halo. And remember, if you get it in that launch window, right, where it's like, you get a system, the attach rate, and they're learning Halo for the first time, oh boy. And then most likely that will be coming to PlayStation at the same. You could get this huge, I think Master Chief Collection is going to dominate over there. Now, granted, I've been on record. I didn't want this future to happen with no primary. I'll stay consistent. But corporate card understands why they're doing this. I know why they're doing that. They see 2 audiences that will be really feverish for this franchise, and you get them up to speed before you bring them later ones. That's the perfect scenario. So yeah, that Call of Duty we do because of the 10-year deal. And then Diablo's interesting. I just wish Diablo had an offline mode, because for me, it's just like, I know it'll probably do well over there, but it'll fit because that style of game will fit.
Yeah.
But it's always a part of me like, man, Diablo, if you ever had an offline mode, how much better you could do. And I think that would benefit a system like the Switch. I mean, what do you feel about Fallout?
Very excited. I mean, dude, hand me that all day. I'd love to take Fallout 4 on the go. Are you kidding me? Any reason to go back to that game, though. I do have a soft spot for Fallout 4. But yeah, the main ones that stand out to me are really Call of Duty. I think, we talk about Halo, but I really think seeing how Call of Duty is on Switch will be a very interesting little science experiment. Like how it looks, how it runs, the sales, the player base. I think it's really easy to forget how well Call of Duty sells, how it's a #1 seller every year without being on a Nintendo device.
That's a good point.
Right? Has anyone ever really taken a moment to absorb that fact? And now Microsoft owns them. And
that's a good point.
I think that those Activision percentages of like a massive amount of percentages in their revenue quarter over quarter coming from Activision isn't going to change if this is also going to Nintendo. And if it's solid, but like, look, man, Call of Duty's all the rave. Kids are going to talk about it. I remember when I was in middle school, high school, like this is how you got into it. Just what's everyone on? Everyone's going to have a Switch too. Especially cross-play. It's going to be a thing. It's going to be easy to get in where you want to get in. And so that is the one I'm watching from a business angle.
It's a good call.
I will also be, as I said, watching Starfield from a business angle, I suppose. But Halo will be the one I'm very curious about. What's the reception all around? For the Xbox faithful, how do they feel seeing Master Chief somewhere else? I know I'm being transparent. This might be the most fanboyish thing I say, but I will be feeling some type of way. I won't be angry. It won't change things, but I will be feeling some type of way, being like, man, I remember buying Combat Evolved on my original Xbox. I remember buying Halo 2. I remember buying Halo 3. Like, I remember how I got each of these fucking games. And to see it now on a different system will be weird. It will be.
When they boot this,
when
you hear the Gregorian chants,
I'm very.
You see this on your dashboard.
Yeah.
You're going to feel a little something.
Yeah. I'm
coming
just
from
being, I'm being real with my emotions.
No fanboy.
Yeah. I'm being real with my emotions. I am going to feel a little off about it. You know, I'm excited for other players to get in. Halo, especially in the Master Chief Collection, is one of the best series of stories you can experience across first-person shooting. Like, just Bungie at their absolute best, especially nowadays. Bungie at their best. Yes. But you know, it's definitely going to be it's going to be a sign that like it's the end of an era completely for Microsoft, for Xbox, and it's a totally different business, totally different ball game. So that one will sting a little bit, you know. But I'm excited for people to get in on that. But otherwise, I mean, it's a very strong slate. And what's not included here is Hellblade 2, which it was in Jez's report. So,
Jez had that in the report?
Yeah. At least for PS5. PS5. He didn't say
PS5,
Switch 2.
Yeah.
He said he said he didn't know it was for Switch 2, but that it's possible. So, yeah.
I need to see a whole bunch of DLSS tricks. That's going to show me about the AI upscale.
Yeah, that's true.
I want to see that. I want to see all how the tech going to work with
it. What's great about this slate, I will say, is that we will get very interesting numbers to work with here. Like, okay, how much are you guys interested in this? Got it. This, got it. That, got it. Okay. Got you.
For me, not only the business side, right? I can't wait for the digital foundry breakdowns of certain things.
Yes.
That's going to be interesting too, right? Yeah, bro. It's going to be a fun time.
It's going to be fun.
Bro, this is a transcendent year in gaming. We are seeing so much. Again, I'll use it goes with the phrase like dogs and cats sleeping together. It is a wild time.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are our real bulky topics before we get into the developer direct, of course. We have some other small ones we want to hit along the way here. Like this one, Timur222. Great dude, shares a lot of like he manages game wikis and LinkedIn's. Like he'll scour a lot of information that way, but not really a leaker ever. However, he shared a little scoop he got on Twitter. He said that Respawn's upcoming Star Wars RTS game will be announced alongside a trailer during Star Wars Celebration, which begins April 18th and ends April 20th, and it's set to arrive on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. Sotelo74 writes in, "Hello, Dukes. Bit Reactor and Respawn's strategy Star Wars game is supposedly getting revealed this year at Star Wars Celebration in April. Any hopes for what era of Star Wars it's set in, and how hyped are you guys for former Firaxis developers bringing in a new Star Wars game? Have a stop console warring cog, remember new year, new me kind of day."
Tell that's an inside joke. I know what you're doing. You throw some King David slander at me. I respect that.
Look, I gotta say, if they're bringing a Star Wars RTS game, bro, I hope they cover every major era. So I hope they hit like High Republic, you know, the standard like Empire Strikes Back era, and I hope they hit the Old Republic. I would buy this game sight unseen. Oh, Old Republic's there? Cool. Nothing would make me more excited than just every era of Star Wars being covered here. That's what I'm hoping for. Because RTS I would say hit or miss, but it's not my best genre. Like I can admit I'm not very good at it. Even if I look at the games, I'm like, oh, cool. I want to play that. But there was a game, I think it was called Empire at War, Star Wars Empire at War, I want to say. And I believe that is a Star Wars RTS, if I remember correctly. I'm going to check my Steam library. It's been a while since I played it. Star Wars Empire at War Gold Pack here. What do they define it as on the store page here? Hang on. They define it as strategy RTS. Yeah, this game is awesome, and it is far spanning. One of the more underrated Star Wars games, in fact. You know, land, space, just trooper battles, whatever it may be. I mean, this game, I'm looking at it now. This game's so epic. Came out in 2006. Like I said, very much an overlooked Star Wars game in the scheme of things. But if people are interested in what a Star Wars RTS looks like and a good one, I mean, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, just for the record. Check this one out. But I'm excited. Here's the thing. I feel like when it comes to Star Wars content that's good, it will, for at least now, remain in the realm of video games. You know, otherwise, though, movies and shows, the jury is still out. I would try to keep an open mind, but my spirit's a little beaten down right now. So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I hope they surprise me with whatever they show off here. But it's Respawn involved in this. So I have reason to have hope, I feel. Because Jedi Survivor, one of the best Star Wars stories you can play. Really good. Especially by the end. Oh, my fucking Lord. So good. What are your thoughts, Scott?
Yeah, I'm a similar boat. You know, admittedly, RTS is not my strongest genre, but I've learned, do not disrespect my Respawn. Respawn, I got Obsidian level love for. Like, Respawn even might be a little higher, you know what I'm saying, on certain things. Like, they just don't really make whack games. So if anybody's going to get me into the genre, I got to pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So if they do it cool, my main thing is the interface. Usually with RTS stuff, sometimes things get too intimidating. As long as they got something that's like very intuitive for a guy like me, I might have to see what's going on. And if they do different eras and they have like a compelling storyline, I will say one of the coolest storyline RTS was like Halo Wars, because I was like, oh, this got me into who this Atriox dude is. And now, you know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was dope. So if they tell a compelling story, which I think they will, I think that's dope. And now you telling me they got Firaxis developers, and y'all know how I feel about Jake Solomon and the old squad.
Yeah.
So if you got former Firaxis in there, that they are the GOATs of turn-based as far as I'm concerned. So I have you putting two of my favorites together with a dope IP and a genre that I'm usually lukewarm. Oh, I'm gonna pay attention. So shout out to Tamura on this one. I will definitely it's on my radar now for sure.
All right. Yeah, I'm very excited for this one. So we'll likely learn about it more in April.
Yeah.
Next up here, not really surprising news, but let's talk about it. After 18 years at BioWare, Corinne Bush, the director of Dragon Age The Veilguard, is leaving the team for a new opportunity that she describes as, quote, one I couldn't turn down, end quote. It is said to remain in the CRPG space, but whatever the game may be, we do not know at this time. She made sure to emphasize that it was a voluntary exit, and she is left having done, quote, what I set out to do at BioWare, to come in and help right the ship. At the heart of it, this was about my own fulfillment. The chance to return to Dragon Age as a proper quality single-player RPG was the privilege of a lifetime. It was hard fought, as games with such tumultuous development cycles rarely end up shipping, and even more rarely turn out great. We as a team did it, and it was hard. It took a toll on me. BioWare still has a lot of work to do culturally, but I do believe they are on the right footing now, end quote. Separately, Jeff Grubb has stated that the reports of BioWare Edmonton closing at this time are right now, again, at this time, untrue. So we don't know what's going to happen there, but unsurprisingly, she is out. And a lot of thoughts and feelings here. Number one, after everything that happened with Veilguard, I am surprised with how BioWare stood by her, that she says they still have work to do culturally, in the face of everything that she was, subjected to. I was very surprised by that. But it is, I'm very interested to see what team she's going to, because I just have to be honest with today's culture. This is not me trying to be hateful, but it is there are going to be reactions to wherever she goes.
Right.
And whatever team is absorbing her is taking that risk head on, which I think is admirable and courageous. But I'm very curious to learn where she ends up. But this, I think, was an inevitable split. A lot of the anger and vitriol was kind of thrown her way during the development of Veilguard. I think a lot of people, and I'm not trying to get in front of an over-defender, but I do think a lot of people don't understand how fucked this game clearly was for a while. Don't get me wrong, it still falls to the director, but she was pretty much handed like something that was like partially live service and turned it into something else. So I don't lay every bit of the blame at her feet entirely. But I think that when it comes to creative choices with BioWare right now, like, John Epler, who's been there for, I think, an even longer time, I think he should have as many questions as Corinne Bush should have, would be my take on BioWare as a whole. And he's still there. Like, why did Dragon Age have to continue going in this heavy ARPG direction? Like, was it truly necessary to continue to detach yourself from what made Dragon Age loved in the first place? Why were there less cameos? Like, there was a lot of just not Dragon Age decisions made with this game. So wishing her all the best, but potentially for the best for the future of BioWare. And I feel like, again, with kind of the conversation that happens around their teams and stuff, this might mean whatever they do next will have a lot of that initial anger removed from the situation because of how just quick people are to leap to sort of judgments. But yeah, just sad ending, really. And I do wonder. I would be very surprised if with all we hear about is. I think my heart is doing the talking. Is I don't want anything to happen to BioWare, but with everything happening with today's, again, we talked a lot this show about the economics of video games. Yeah. I'd be so surprised if BioWare got out of this super unscathed and there weren't layoffs, there weren't any shakeups or changes. Again, I don't want it to happen, but I'm like, we're not really seeing any signs at all that Dragon Age: The Veilguard has sold a lot. And I always go back to like, EA wanted this to be a breakout hit. Those were their words. And they have not shouted really any sort of stats that I've seen, at least from the rooftops, that is indicated as such. Maybe they're waiting until a better time to say it. Maybe they're waiting for more numbers to come in because this game did just come out at the end of October. So maybe they're waiting like another month or two. But I want the hard numbers on this game because I think it's going to determine a lot. It's going to determine, because a lot of this is anecdotal. Like I kind of just cited, like some people see Corinne Bush as the problem. And did that truly impact the sales of this game? You look at the Steam reviews, the Steam player count. It's like, that does not scream failure to me. It does not scream complete failure to me. But for a game in development for so long, how well did it have to do to justify its existence and its development costs that no doubt were insane? So yeah, just a lot of questions still surrounding this studio. But this is an exit that I think many of us saw coming. And yeah, after 18 years with any place, I understand why you would want to just have a change of scenery, especially after pushing through this development cycle. Is probably like, I need a reset. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to track. And I'm in the same boat as you. I'm looking to see, I missed that like Circana's report. Like, did we get December's, 2024? Because they dropped November, but they dropped like the last day of November or something like that. And I remember it being like number 2 even on that last day or something crazy. So I'm like, couldn't have been that bad. But to your point, what was their internal projections or what they thought they were going to hit? That's the question. Look, I don't really know Corinne well. Obviously, I defer to you as far as her history and how long she's been there and stuff like that. But I will say this, from the outside looking in, as a person who still haven't got a chance to get going fully completed with Veilguard, just so much going on with me. But I empathize with trying to direct this franchise only because the iterations have been so substantially different from each other. So you got like all these audiences wanting what they think Dragon Age should be, right? So you got that aspect. And then obviously we got, what there's some criticism of what, some of the things of criticism that Veilguard did receive, right? So you got that. So look, if it's a situation where she got an offer she couldn't refuse, a job she couldn't turn down, and she's pursuing her dream, God bless, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? But there's always a part of me that's like, some people are always going to make you the face of their vitriol of what, what I'm saying, when they don't like something. And obviously we knew there was a lot of controversies around Veilguard, a lot of angst from certain groups towards Veilguard. So yeah, we'll see. I'm curious about BioWare's future. That is definitely a studio that I care near and dear about. Obviously, I'm a huge Mass Effect. Veilguard's existence and sustainability ties directly into my favorite game of all time. Yeah. So I have, stakes in this, and obviously the development side. We had Mark Darrow, and I remember, talk to him, and I remember we were happy, they brought him in, at least, to try to course correct and change. Because this thing, like you said, people have to remember, in fairness to that BioWare, this game went through so many iterations and changes, and all the rumors that we heard of what it once was to what they did, I still think deserves some form of praise. We may not like it as a perfect story, or we may feel some hand holding with choice was involved, but I have to give credit. At least I would say delivered a competent product, right? Consider it. That's the vibe I get from, and especially from the little I've played.
That's what you're asking, in my case, like I don't like it at all, but there are a lot of people who do like it and think it's like at least acceptable. And so, and in terms of like the make of the game, like it's not badly made, if you will. Right. It's just like I don't think it's good in like any component, is how
you felt the writing, you felt there's a lot of things.
The writing and the gameplay.
It did resonate with you. Yeah. Okay. No, and I get it. And it's one of those polarizing ones because, when you hear other people, they're like, oh, it hit for me, and then Act 3 is the right. So it's one of those, and I get it. So I'm just curious, again, what the projections were and what internally if they hit.
I imagine the projections were pretty high because this game at least sold, like, I'd say, 2 mil. 2 mil, I feel like across everything.
And they shout out from the rooftop. No tweet. No,
like thanks for X amount of players. So I don't know. Maybe they were just trying to lay low. Yeah. Maybe they knew it wasn't worth it. Maybe they were waiting for their true moment of like pure success to be like, suck it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
we'll see.
I felt like the best time to share that if you were having success was at launch when a lot of the conversation around it was really toxic.
Right.
And kind of just quiet the noise.
It would be like,
yeah, look, you can all say what you want on whatever side, but like, here's what happened. If it was good for them, that is.
If it was good, yeah. Companies are quick to do that. Yeah, for sure.
So that's what's going on at BioWare. There's a couple more pieces here. Hollow Knight Silksong is still real, in development, and will release, according to Matthew Griffin, the head of marketing and publishing at Team Cherry. So I know we got a lot of people in the Duke audience anxiously awaiting news on Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm thinking maybe the Direct. I don't know, though. It's just not this developer Direct. Sorry, by the way, the Nintendo Direct.
Nintendo Direct, yeah.
That's where I'm thinking maybe, but I don't know. What are we thinking?
Team Cherry, man, no disrespect. Like, I don't believe you. Like, bro, I'm trying to find it. Like, bro, it was a E3 that was like years ago, bro, that I played a Switch version of that game, and then they was telling me it was coming, and I'll believe it. I'll see it when I believe it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
It's been a minute, so we'll see. I mean, the game looks amazing. That's the crazy thing. The game looked amazing, played amazing. I was just like, what is going on? Why is it taking so long?
Yeah, I would be very interested. I feel like if it was any other team, it would be a cause for concern, but everyone seems very excited. So as someone who's not played much Hollow Knight, I wait to see if this game is real and when it is coming out.
Yeah, bro, it's fine. Hold on 1 second, because I'm trying to find out the year when I go to 5 years ago.
Wow.
I played this game, covered it. I got 7 minutes of exclusive gameplay. E3 2019.
Wow.
That's why I was like, Team Cherry, respectfully. I don't believe you until I see. Bro, I'm gonna give you the link, bro. Check out me doing some backseat gameplay. You're gonna laugh. I'll just send it to you. This is hilarious. Send it there, then I'll send it to what you call it. Bro, look at that year. Look at that. Oh my god. It was in the Nintendo section of E3. Bro, look at that gameplay that we still ain't get.
This is so funny.
Me and my little makeshift phone camera out there hustling in the Nintendo section.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I said, I'm there with you. It's just like, I feel bad for the Silksong fans who are just
for sure, because this game looks amazing.
Next up here, EA Origin is shutting down April of this year as a result of Microsoft no longer supporting 32-bit software. So there goes another launcher for y'all. Say goodbye to it. And more games consolidating into Steam. Cog, how are we feeling?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to really do enough research on this one. I saw this line come up on my thing. So apparently, it's got to be 64-bit. I'm assuming Windows 11. I think they're just going to use the the EA Play thing. There's some form of consolidation. I believe I heard. Don't quote me. Apologies if I got the information wrong. But I still think business as usual for the 64-bit version of it, which should be Windows 11. But I'm just curious if anything is affected that people cannot do as a result of this. I'm just curious about that.
All right. Well, next up here, we've got some new sales numbers that I like to just see what's going on, who's selling what, how much. Balatro was hit 5 million last time we reported. I think it was December. It was 4. So there's 1 million sales right there. And this was a surprising one. Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, kind of a Baldur's Gate style role-playing game, 1 million sales. So congrats to them. Very awesome to see that level of success for a series that just sees a lot of different games at a lot of different times. So very, very nice to see. But any thoughts on these sales numbers?
Yeah, specifically Balatro. I know he gets a lot of smoke, but we got to give Keith Lee his flowers on this. That you are right. It was 4 million. They added 1.5 million sales after the Game Awards. So it goes to show you the power of these awards. And people go, wait a minute, what game is that? Why is everyone going so crazy about this? Why do I keep seeing it get nominated? It goes to show you the exposure. If you get nominations or you win awards, people now have a renewed interest in your game after the dev cycle. After bro, that's a big stat. You sold 1.5 million units just after the Game Awards?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Agreed. So just that game continues to truck on. Good price tag, very accessible, and it will continue. It'll probably easily hit 10 million. No doubt about it. All right, Cog. Let's get into what games we are playing as we approach this developer direct. What have you been getting into, sir? It seems like we're on the same page.
Yeah, man. Living the life of Henry, quite hungry.
Yes.
And my man Hans Capon, you know what I'm saying? The very rambunctious woman out. That man is funny, man. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, man. Talking about that, those early 8 to 10 hour kind of things. For now, I'll get further, into it. Obviously, we're covering it and stuff like that. We'll be reviewing it. But yeah, man, just loving my journey as far as the story right now. That's where I'm kind of leaning in and just really getting a grasp of where they're going and how this friendship is going to play out, as well as the job he has, delivering this, letter and all this other stuff. But look, man, this is a huge game. This is a huge, oh my God, the immersion and the amount of things you can do and things you have to pay attention to. And it can be overwhelming. It can be, I will admit. Like, bro, I spent like an hour trying to I found like where you do laundry at. I was like, damn, I can't do laundry because I've got soap. Then I found where like you can sharpen your sword and you got the little the thing, the wheel with the feet, and you bro, that took me an hour to get, because your weapons and the condition go down on your weapon based on you. You get dirty, dirty clothes. You have spell. You got to sleep. You got to eat. Like this is the most immersive game. Period. And this is Warhorse staying true to who they are. That may not be for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Based on how, and again, the combat being as strict, as close to KCD1 as you can, with a little bit more of tighter windows to riposte and parry and stuff like that. Oh, by the love of God, do not get jumped.
Oh, yeah.
For the love of God, you better make sure your back is not exposed and everyone is in front of you, kind of thing. But yeah, man, I've been enjoying my time. It's just, like I said, just trying to learn the systems, and then I get caught up with quests. And all right, I'm talking to this guy now. He's got this whole thing going on about a side quest that I can do. And right now I'm in the broke Henry stage. Goshen is at a minimum, on feet. And I will say this game is funny because with the systems as far as like fast travel, this game ain't trying to let you just, once you've been to a town, it's all good. You just go fast travel. Oh no, on your little fast travel journey, bandits and things that happen and pop off and catch you lacking. Like, it's one of them type. And because of the save system, I will say, I think we talked about it on something. You made a good point on Summon Sign, which is the controversial thing, which is they're staying true to how they are. Well, you got to have these schnapps, and that can let you save immediately. But it's a resource that's not openly available in the game. Yeah. And the only way you can save is either if you save in a bed, which are far between, when you're doing all your questing, you're doing all this stuff.
Bed, right? Like, it's not even just like sleeping on a mat on the floor. Like, you have to sleep in like a good bed.
A good bed, right? And then from there, that initiates a save. Now, they do have this way to cheat the system, which is save and exit, kind of thing. But to your point, you made a good point on SummerSlam, which is like, well, if you're going to do that, you might as well just put the save in it. That kind of thing. So look, I will say right now, graphically, this game is spectacular. Conversation-wise, dialogue, story-wise, I am really immersed. I'm still scratching the surface. I am still, even with the hours I am, because I am doing all the nuanced things to make my Henry a better character. And then I have this is my stealth suit. This is what I'm going to do. Because where I fall in love now is the depths of the skill trees. And then what pass? Okay, I got 8-9 points. Okay, I'm going to put it in stealth, but I'm going to put it where, if I grab somebody up from behind, even if they get away and escape my stealth kill, I'll have a physical advantage if it now turns into the fight. So I'm doing that kind of build. I'm doing, it's so much to it, man. Combat, stamina's at a premium. So look, early still positive. I want to just see where it goes, but I want to be clear for anyone who has never played a Kingdom Come Deliverance game. This is a very hardcore game.
Yeah.
Keep in mind. And it may frustrate you the first couple of hours where you're like, bro, I don't know if I could do this. This is like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those, if you stick with it, you see the beauty of it, and you see what the vision is. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. But I'm curious with you, how much more you got a chance to play, where you at, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm closing in on 20 hours now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting ready to do my preview this week, so this may be a repeat of what people hear in that video. I thought I'd like it more. It is not a bad game, though. That's the thing. Like, do I recommend this game? Absolutely. But is it for me? I'm kind of learning. No, not really. Like,
interesting.
I can see it's a great game, and for its audience, people are going to love it. But for me, what I'm struggling with right now is I don't feel like this game respects my time. Like, I put like 2.5 hours into a side quest, and I walk out with 25 grosh, and I'm like, dude, I feel like that was such a fucking waste. Like, this side quest wasn't even that good. I was just doing it to get around the map. You know, I was doing it to like get the rewards. I go, I need money, take care of my character. I go into a bunch of fights. I do a ton of shit because these side quests I'll get into is one of my compliments, but they go on for a while, like 80 steps. It's very impressive. There's a lot of alternate ways to approach them, like that freedom. It's really good, which is why, again, I don't say like, when I say like, I thought I'd like it more, people are going to immediately go, bad. No, you hate it. It's like, no, it's just like, I don't know if it's really for me. Like when I did all of that, and at the end, that carrot at the end of the stick was like pretty much chewed all the way to the base. I was like, you know, part of the fun of doing a side quest is like, hey, glad I did that because now I got XYZ. Not have to over reward me. I know the game's not built like that, but that
25 is kind of rough.
Yeah, 25 groschen, bro. Because then I did a side quest after. It took me about an hour. It was really good, by the way.
Okay.
And I got 50. So I was like what gives, man? Like,
I got you.
Especially when this side quest, I don't know if you did it. It's the one with the nomad camp where you're like back and forth. And I was like, yo, this, number one, this is not that good. But like also just like the amount of, all right, go talk to him. Okay, fast travel back. Then to go back to this person, you have to walk back because there's nowhere to fast travel near them. And so I'm just doing this back and forth. And I'm like, the reward is going to be sick because this is such a pain in the ass. Nothing. But that is one particular side quest. A lot of the side quests in this game are really good. Like a particular group of people I got drunk with and sort of what that story led to. I was like, interesting. You know, like, can you accept these people? Or what happened? There was another one that I'll just say was very personable, involving starting characters in the game. I was like, wow, okay. Like what I've noticed is there's almost this web of intrigue.
Yes.
And you think you're going to just see these characters once and it's like, all right, on to my next adventure in the main story. But if you do the side content, they're all interconnected and in their specific places for a reason. And that is my favorite part about this game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, I really do want to love the game. Like that's the problem I'm having, which is why I keep saying I think I'd love it more. Is like, I think it's a great game. Everything that is done is great it's great because everything it does is by design. Like it is intentionally grading. It is intentionally going to test you often. It is intentionally difficult. And really, it's not the challenge the game provides that is my problem. Again, it's just about time spent and what I get out of it. I think that's what defines many an RPG. Like I want to feel good about the things I put that time into. And I do think for how laborious it can be, I've not really earned that. And also, as I talked about this on Summon Sign, but it's less of a factor now, just to be clear. But when you do like 3 hours of gameplay and then like this arbitrary save system decides to not save your progress and I lose my save file and I got to start from the beginning, I'm like, dude, because what's happening is they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. Like you got this save exit system. You can get auto saves in the middle of quest steps. That's great. Saving in beds, as Cog mentioned. So I'm like, you have all these points where you save, but you still want this savior snap system. Like, guys, I know people are not going to like to save. But I'm like, guys, like it's so obvious what you want to do, but don't feel like you can do. And so it feels like they're in the middle on it. And I'm like, I don't think this is a moment where you're like, let's please both sides. It's like, for me, pleasing both sides is not me saying, oh, it's been like, I check my recording software. Oh, I've been playing for an hour and I haven't hit a save in a while. Save exit, leave the application, jump back in. Like there's like a ton of times in my footage. You'll see me just leaving the game and coming back.
Like, I ain't risking this. I done did too much. He's like, if I lose all this.
Literally. And again, if you want that system to be there for someone like me, that's just not a good way of doing it as far as I'm concerned. So, I just, again, I don't mind the system because I liked the first game a lot. It's just that, okay, if you want to have your cake and eat it too, I don't think this is the system for it. I think you pick one direction or the other in my opinion.
So right now is the frustration I'm getting not LSM fan, don't relax. I'm just using a comparison for what you say with questing. One of your criticisms with Shattered Space was reward of time was also like unique reward and stuff like that. So you feel like, like you're not because we know where we start with Henry, we are very base level broke energy, right? A certain part of this game. So you feel like the build up, being that they stripped you down again in a way, right?
Sure.
You know, the build up to what you're doing, this question just isn't worth the squeeze, even though the story and the writing and some of the stuff is dope. But after all this, you like, from what you've experienced so far, is not rewarding enough?
Because what happens is, okay, so it's not like Shattered Space, because Shattered Space, like the Bethesda experience is relatively easy. So the idea of like unique weapons and armor just to kind of go God mode is what I'm looking for there. So it's not really the same. I get why you would draw those two. This is more like, by design, KCD2 is, I always use the term, just laborious. Like you're supposed to like not smoke 40 enemies at once. Like, you know, it's, if you fight 1-on-3, you're probably like, oh shit, I'm going to die, as you would naturally, right? Like it's a game built on realism. Like, oh, I got to eat. Oh, I got to sleep. So when a game is built with those mechanics in mind, designed to have you monitoring 40 things at once, if you invest in a standard side quest that has you especially tracking back and forth, the expectation that's built, at least when you're playtesting it, is like, okay, I've gone really out of my way to do this.
Okay.
So here's something you could even sell for more groschen, or here's a weapon, or here's just double the amount of groschen they gave you. If they gave me 50, I think I would have been okay. But like, here's 25, which I say that because like, that's a bath in this game.
Yeah, that's 25.
Even when I haggle right now, like I can haggle them down to like 19 maybe.
Yeah.
But like, that's a bath, bro. I didn't do almost 3 hours of gameplay for a bath. I don't know how else to word it. Like I didn't do that, man. Like
you wasn't trying to go to the spa with that?
Yeah, I wasn't. So again, a lot of people are going to hear this, which is why like my preview is going to be kind of, or review, we'll see when again, because I'm going to do my preview of sort of where I'm at, and then the review will be the final check-in. But this is why I say that even though it's not all clicking with me, that people should still be interested, because you might be listening to this and going like, that's music to my ears.
Yeah, some people go like that.
Yeah. And that is the point, you know? So that's kind of where I'm at with the game. Like the combat is solid. It's not as like fresh and new as it was back then, because you kind of know what to expect, but that doesn't make it bad. I still like it a lot. The riposte system is really good. I think that works really well. Sometimes a little too easy though. I thought the combat in KCD1,
you got it down now.
I thought KCD1 was more difficult, maybe because it was new, but I remember having more trouble with that. But KCD2, like as a strength build, I just need to get close to someone, hit the attack button. I'll just literally like muscle them down and just hit them over the head like 4 times. And that's kind of it. Yeah. You can really like harass people in this game.
Hey, what's this build you doing? I'm not
strength.
Doing. So you just go, you just ODing on strength.
Well, naturally, I mean, dude, I didn't realize until I was drunk, so I lost my carry weight, that if you're encumbered and you're walking around with tons of carry weight on you, your strength goes up. So I like was walking the map to a new area that I'd never been to, and it was like your strength went up.
So you're doing the oblivion by doing.
Yeah.
You're increasing. So because you just an encumbering running there, you're like, all right, his back muscle.
No, it's really cool. The game's very thoughtful in that regard. You know, it's people, I'll sound nitpicky with my criticisms, no doubt. I'm sure people have issue with it, but like, it's just more so I want to warn the people who are even like me and really loved KCD1 in a lot of ways, that there are some things that will bring you screaming back down to earth in this game. And that's why I think previews are great, because it's like, here's the check-in. Here's how, for me, I'm feeling at almost 20 hours. And when I do my full review, here's how I'm feeling after like 50, 60, 70 hours. We'll see how far I get. Obviously, once the main story is done and everything. But yeah, this is a really interesting RPG. There's nothing quite like it, which I think is also like a novelty that makes it work for a lot of people. But yeah, between its combat, its focus on realism, it's beautiful world.
Oh my gosh,
great writing. You know, it's really good. Just I think sometimes it's just to be frank, and people would be like, duh, but it's frustrating as fuck to play at times, dude. Like it just is.
Two quick questions. What you doing about your food? Do you, because I'm running around with like dry, I get everything smoked and
we're smoking everything, bro. It lasts so much longer.
I
have like 20 things of like smoked wolf meat for like ages.
For food. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now, what are you doing for the health? You are making potions? How are you handling your health? Like, let's say you going on a trek, get into a situation, you're bloodied up, you get sleep, you get half your health, you don't get all of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How are you dealing with health on managing that?
What I typically do is I right now lean on food because I haven't learned like much about like the health potions. It's not been like an HP thing, but typically what I do is I kind of work things around the food, and then when it's time to rest a little bit, I'll go and like take a bath. That's how I do.
That 25 grams.
Yeah, I'll use my plus
19.
At least in the opening part of the game, because right now I have a recipe for savior schnapps and the chamomile one that you make at the start of the game, but that's really it. Do you make your own potions?
Yeah, but I haven't found like the health one just yet. But bro, that potion system is kind of serious. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to get the drug, put the cauldron, do the thing, do the grind.
That was something that was so cool about the first game. I have to look into the scholar system some more because I was it makes sense for the sequel. Like, oh man, like I loved in the first one learning how to read. I was like, that was one of the coolest things. Like having a goal being like, I don't know what this book says. I don't know what this says. And I need, and like being able to only complete certain quests if I learn how to read. Yeah. That sense of like progression where it's like, I can only do certain things if I get better at other things hasn't really hit yet either. So, again, still a great RPG. I didn't expect it to fully light my fire, but again, I did think I'd like it a lot more. I did. But it doesn't change my recommendation for the game, which are, at least in my opinion, people may disagree, two separate things. Fair enough. But it looks like they're really committing. There's a long-term roadmap.
Hell yeah.
3 expansions in this year. Brushes with Death, Legacy of the Forge, and Mysteria Eclipse. I'm sorry, I am totally butchering the pronunciation of that. Also, just a couple of months after launch, they're adding barber mechanics, a hardcore mode. That's hilarious. And horse racing.
A hardcore mode?
Yeah. And there's a trailer out right now. But Warhorse has had really good DLC in the past for KCD. And yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, so for them, similar to the first game, they were very big on support, stuff like that. So yeah, man, salute. I can't wait to see what they got going, especially mechanics are kind of funny.
Absolutely. All right, Cog, let's get into the news this week. Number 1 goes to the Xbox Developer Direct. Technically 5 games shown off here, but really from 4 teams. They opened up pretty strong, but let's talk about the broad show before we get into, of course, the game by game. What is your analysis of the entire January 2025 Developer Direct, good sir?
Amazing. Absolutely amazing for me. I got 4 games. I got a surprise drop. And I got release dates, you know what I'm saying? Which was for the most part, like surprising, and one particular that we'll get into that you could have told me it would have come out 2-3 years from now and I'd have been fine with that. Just say, hey, something's in development. We're working on it. Just want to let you guys know. No, they were like, no, this is coming out this year. Okay. Yeah. This wasn't on my bingo card, kind of thing. But yeah, we'll get into it. But as far as, obviously we'll get into each title, but from a top level, I came in with the expectation of getting 4 games, not sure if I'm going to get release dates, and then, potential, well, actually, 3 games, but a potential 4th game was the secret, is how I came into it. And in that aspect, my expectations were exceeded. So I'm just like, okay, they hit everything. Now, you won't give me something else as a bonus? Yeah. All right. You know what I'm saying? We'll get into that. Yeah. What about you?
Overall, I liked it a lot. Yeah, it was a really good show. It's funny. I walked away more excited about the not Xbox Game Studios titles, if you will. The third party ones like Clair Obscur and Ninja Gaiden really took the cake. It gets docked like a point just because I've seen a lot of these pretty extensively already. So I was hoping beyond Ninja Gaiden there might have been another additional kind of surprise, but I agree with you. Release dates are so important, and this does set up a very unique year for Xbox, where maybe we don't sound so crazy when we say, hey, this should be a good year for them because everything was the front half of the year outside of Ninja Gaiden 4. And I was like, okay.
That was the key for me. Normally, shotgun blast energy is what we usually get with this kind of stuff.
Or they kind of pepper it throughout the year to have 2 April games, a May game, 1 today, and just one waiting for you at the end of the year that I think does deserve its build up as, people start to get familiar with Ninja Gaiden. Again, you have the 2D game coming out. I think it was June. So really, I think just in the terms of release cadence as like Xbox fans, you can't ask for much more. This is what we always wanted, Now, I'll admit there's some games I'm less excited about than others, but all of them look good at the very least. So I'm excited to talk about them one by one. Let's start off with I wish I had time to watch your reaction when Platinum Games popped up on screen, because I audibly was like, oh shit. I was like, what? Because when I saw the storm right away, I went, that's Team Ninja.
Like, Team Ninja, bro. I'm looking at the water. I'm like, Team Ninja, let's go.
Yep. I was like, it's them. I was like, it's got to be Ninja Gaiden.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was. But then I saw Platinum Games fade, and I went, so that's where they were. Maybe the begging online worked. So we have a combination of Platinum Games, Koei Tecmo, Team Ninja, and Xbox Game Studios Publishing, bringing you Ninja Gaiden 4. And keep in mind, when they opened the show, they said all games shown here are available on Xbox Play Anywhere and Game Pass, meaning Ninja Gaiden 4 is a day one Game Pass game, and that is significant. Ninja Gaiden has incredible Xbox heritage, really starting off with Nintendo, but the 3D games are best known on Xbox. You had this one right here, Ninja Gaiden Black, which came to Xbox in the early 2000s, I think 2004, but there was an original Ninja Gaiden before that. PlayStation didn't get Ninja Gaiden until Sigma, which is considered a worse version than Black because of the way it like ramps down the difficulty and enemies and all that stuff. Ninja Gaiden 2, which I also have right here next to me. My favorite in the series. This game, you got it. My reaction to Ninja Gaiden Black 2 getting a remake. It's one of the rare times I wish I had the camera on. I was like, oh my fucking God. I could not believe it. We'll talk about that in a sec. But Ninja Gaiden 2, man, this is, again, incredible Xbox heritage. It has the stamp that I'm asking for them to bring back. Just an amazing action game. Had some tech issues, though, which is why this remake is so significant. Sigma comes out a year later on PS3, and that one's a little less divisive. And then there was Sigma Plus on PS Vita. So there's a lot of versions of 2, right? But to see a series with strong Xbox heritage, by the way, fail with the third entry, comes back a little bit with Razor's Edge, which, we weren't in an era of people looking for comebacks. It was like, you fail once, you're done. So we thought that spelled the end of Ninja Gaiden, because after that, they did Yaiba, which was like that, not great. I think it was like a zombie game or whatever. Yeah. And then that is it, right? For like 10 years. And Ninja Gaiden had no reason to really make a comeback. I think on paper, it was like, yeah, like this series had its high times. It has a lot of legacy, sure, but it kind of got drilled into the ground, and we're not in that comeback era where if this was like 2018, 2020, it was like, let's see what Ninja Gaiden could do with a few updates. So I think it's just bold to be doing a fourth one, and to see it's with Platinum, with Koei Tecmo, with Team Ninja. I want to break it down a little bit because I feel like you can see the DNA of each studio in this game. I'm curious if you agree. Because you see the animations and like the perfect dodges of a Platinum game. And I'm like, okay, but Ninja Gaiden is defined by challenge, right? I'm like, okay, like don't get too carried away, right? It's about fidelity. It is a little bit about fidelity. At least back then it was. It's about fluidity is the word I was really looking for. It's about that fast-paced action. It's about gore. It's about dismemberment. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing this all. But then they get to the one-on-one. And that's where you see Neo and Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo and their work together on that game start to kick in. I go, oh my God, this is a fucking perfect marriage, because you basically got Platinum Games handling the overworld combat and the style and the flair. And you got like the Neo team working on the boss fights. And then you got two protagonists,
bro,
Ryu and Raven. I'm like, oh my God. I said, oh my God, at least 40 times during the show. I was on my ass. I could not fucking believe what I was watching. Ninja Gaiden 4 is such an exciting idea to me. And I know we both predicted it. We're like, this just seems like with like Team Ninja spinning something up, this might be the right time, but holy shit. That was, what a great opening. I felt bad for South of Midnight. We'll talk about that next, but what did you think of Ninja Gaiden 4 and what you saw and sort of like breaking it down? Just, how'd you feel?
So much emotion. This is grown man tears moments for me. This is full circle. This is, when I got the platform and seeing Ninja Gaiden in the 3D space with this level of fidelity, and then the challenge, and then the action, the fast pace, like you said, fluidity. I remember seeing wall running for the first time. I was blown away. So
the wall jumping from Ninja Gaiden 1 still blows my mind when they first teach you how to hop back and forth, where you're like, and you just go off the wall. And that was the coolest shit of all time. Sorry.
And then, you preach it, man. I love that. I love that. Those history lesson. And for me, there's some iconic ninjas. Obviously, I am a Shinobi kid.
Yeah.
She would always be my heart, but I'm never going to disrespect the legend that is Ryu Hayabusa. So I'll be honest, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh God, it's happening. I see the water. I see it going up the mountain. Mm-hmm. That's Team Ninja. I'm yelling. I'm like, wait here. So then they go. Now I came down an octave because I'm like, okay, who's this? Mm-hmm. Right? And it's, what's his name? Yakamo, this new protagonist. I'm like, okay, so we're doing Ninja Gaiden in the future.
Yeah.
You mentioned the great Ryu Hayabusa. You mentioned him, but it almost seems, I'm like, oh no, they're going to Jin Sakai me. That's what I thought. So I'm panicking. So I'm like, all right, I'm trying to be upbeat, but I'm like, all right, you look cool, but you give me, I felt like how Metal Gear Solid fans feel when they first saw Raiden for the first time, and there was a little pushback.
You were a little upset. Okay.
Yeah, at first, I was processing, and everybody, Addict King, they're going crazy. I'm like, is that it for my man? This is the new guy, and I just got to accept another one of my ninja heroes.
Okay, I see the emotion.
So I had the emotion at first. When Ryu hit the screen, and I saw the man, and I said, oh, he's in this. He's okay. And it's 2. Okay, cool. Woo. Now I'm all the way back. So then I get that. And it's like you said, wait a minute. What the hell is Platinum doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now I'm like, oh, this is the clap back to Kamiya. Oh, you think you were, this is what we doing.
Did you see the rumor that apparently they were saying, I don't know if it's true, but they were saying that they were working with the lights off?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, bro, they're like, we're not gonna have this fucking poverty ass slander about our studio. We're working on Ninja Gaiden 4.
Look, Dad left. He walked out on us. You know what I'm saying? We try to keep the lights on, but this is what we do. We got with these guys. We got with Team Ninja to get this done. I'm very curious, because I think Itagaki, he's moved on from Team Ninja a long time ago. I think he's had his own thing. But I'm just curious, how he feels about this whole situation, because obviously that's the father, right? You remember the rock star energy, long hair, shades, whatever you see in a Team Ninja game and a Ninja Gaiden game. But look phenomenal. I looked at the how they're going with it, kind of like a futuristic Tokyo. Things have changed. Yeah. You're working together. He almost seems like I'm getting the energy that it's a confrontation a little bit, and then we may work together kind of energy.
Yeah.
Right. So the key is going to be, can you play as each? Does it a switch thing? How does it work with both of them? All I care is the OG is here, and he had his drop. Is it not? I'm good. I saw the
Zuma drop. Yeah,
the Zuma. I'm like, I'm good.
When I saw it, yeah, they busted out both his iconic moves.
Yes,
the Zuna drop, and I think the swallow dive or something like that. I was like, yep, there it is.
Grown man tears as that. But that was literally the grown man tears. I just processed it. I'm like, so again, everything looks great. I'm looking at the fluidity. I'm looking at the action. I'm seeing like you said, I'm seeing the boss energy of Team Ninja, but I will see the fast-paced freneticness of a Platinum game and the dodging of a Platinum game. And also, when he's sliding, the new protagonist, like sliding down this long drop. And I'm just like, yo, this looks crazy. So I'm going to be real with you, man. You could have told me, new Ninja Gaiden 4. Okay, cool. Just announced, we're working on it, guys. I would have been good. I'd have been like, all right. Yeah. You got the nerve to be like, yeah, this is this year, and you got the nerve to be like, oh yeah. I was very
surprised by it. That was like the one thing that like when you're excited, but you feel like your gut is telling you like dial it a notch down.
Yeah.
For me, it was that release window. I was like, I could just see this being like, we'll see you fall next year.
We'll see you fall. Yeah. Like,
the more environments they showed and comment they showed, I'm like, this looks far along, bro. This looks ready.
How long they've been cooking on this is so crazy to me. And
no leaks, really.
No leaks. No one knew about this, really. I mean, obviously, I heard the rumors like the last couple of days, but I'm talking about, usually we hear roadmaps of Xbox projects, maybe like 6 months to a year out. Be like, okay, they working on this. This rumor, this is. We never heard about no Ninja Gaiden being worked on at any point. So, and like
especially
you said,
the remake getting hidden or remaster, if you will, is huge.
Bro,
Huge.
that's huge. And the fact that this is a Game Pass day one get, I'm like, wow, that is amazing. And you got the nerve in a stacked year, which we're going to get into. This showcase did not even have Fable, Out of Worlds 2 in it, and Oblivion remakes in it. There's stuff we know they got in the chamber that is not at this. And you got the nerve to be like, yeah, we're coming out this year too.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Crazy lineup. So that's that. Then I'm like, all right. I'm on cloud 9. The grown man tears is flowing. Yeah. I saw Black 2.
Bro. That is like an important video game. Let me tell you what. Like I already waxed poetic on Ninja Gaiden 2, but like for those who don't know, Ninja Gaiden 2, like I mentioned, it came out and it was really good. You know, like it was a perfect evolution in I think every sense of what Black did. It still had the toughness, still had the difficulty, but it had like if you fire up Black right now, like this is an OG Xbox game.
Yeah.
All you got to do is pull out the lunar staff and use that for a little bit and see on what a different fucking level this game was for 2004. The animation quality is absurd. Doesn't even do it justice, right? So Ninja Gaiden 2 carries that forward. Style, flair, craziness, amazing locations. Like it's got it all. But frames,
I know the frames. I know.
Yeah, not great, right? It's a huge trade-off. And this is, we're talking back then where we were kind of still learning this terminology where it was just like more of a feel thing where we're like, this isn't right. So Sigma comes out as I described, right? Sigma 2 comes around a year later and like, hey, we hear your problems. So here's their solution. They get rid of the dismemberment, which we know is like Ninja Gaiden proper. They get rid of the gore. All this is to optimize, right? They get rid of a lot of enemies. So the challenge goes down. They add, I think it was Rachel. They had a couple of playable characters, which a lot of people felt like was shifting their attention away from what really mattered, and that less is more in this case, especially because Ninja Gaiden 2 is like a pretty, you know, it's already a pretty dense package.
Yeah.
And so what happened is Ninja Gaiden 2 was a game where if you go on like Reddit, there's debates on like what version you could play. And there was Sigma Plus, which added, I think, more content on top of that, more costumes.
Yeah.
And so people kind of felt like Ninja Gaiden was trending in this direction of like more is good rather than focusing on like what Black did, which was like quality.
Right.
So Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is extremely important because as they talked about in the developer direct, they noticed after the Master Collection came out, which is right next to me here. So when that came out, they took the feedback, which is a lot of people saying, yeah, man, like I love Ninja Gaiden 2, but I wish this wasn't Sigma.
Right.
And that's been the thing that people have said for years. And this isn't, I don't think, like some sort of elitism. Like, don't get me wrong. They're fun as hell to play. Like the one I've played more recently is Sigma 2. And,
Sigma 2,
it is a good time, but it's not the true experience that when you like, it goes from like really intense action game to like kind of shut your brain off action game. Like there's two totally different experiences. So for them to step out and be like, we heard you. And with modern tech now, we're not going to, I mean, I haven't played it yet. I got it downloading on Game Pass
right now. 80 gigs.
Yeah, 80 gigs, 52 minutes left. I'm like, come on, man, hurry up. But for them to be like, we heard you. And what we're doing is using power modern technology to basically adjust where you have that core experience that you remember with all of the upgrades that Sigma brought to the table. Here's the extra characters. But still, here's the gore. Here's the dismemberment. Here's the challenge. This is the Ninja Gaiden 2 that we all wanted all those years ago. So it's unbelievable that they were just like, here you go. And little bonus on top for those who got a little bit of speculitis, Unreal Engine 5. Remaster, right? So keep this in mind for Oblivion. That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, this is a little... So that's why I'm very excited to test it out because I'm like, okay, this is... Now I get to really see what to expect with an Oblivion remake, what that may look like. Again, I was looking at the store page. They define it as a remaster.
Yes.
But it'll still kind of shape some form of expectation here. But Ninja Gaiden 2 was already, I mean, Ninja Gaiden always defined Xbox visuals, to me at least. Like they were right next to Halo. Yeah. Right next to Halo.
That was it was a generational shift. I'm from the era where Ninja Gaiden was this little sprite, 2D sprite that went across field on the NES. And then even before that, a little slightly bigger sprite on the arcade where he used to hang from a little pole street side and kick with his 2 feet. The OGs know about that Ninja Gaiden. You know what I'm saying? But when Ninja Gaiden came out for Xbox, I'm trying to think what it would compare. It's like a Halo moment in the sense of like, wow, this is what games can look like. This is what like it was. Then you had the Just One energy with this, the cinematics and the storyline and cutscenes and voice acting and what I'm saying. And then and then we kind of birthed a little bit of the Souls energy, right? As far as like, yo, this is a challenge. You are not going to shut off your brain and think you're just going to swing wildly and throw some ninja stars and it's going to be a good time. You're going to work for this. And you're going to fight. And you're going to learn patterns. You're going to understand the challenge and the difficulty of this stuff. And and then again, obviously he became pop culture, and you see him in Dead or Alive games. You see him, he became a thing. So this is a huge moment, and I love it because it does hark back to the Xbox that I fell in love with. These were reasons why. And to your point, you said it best. This series could have died off and did not have a legitimate reason for it to come back because of the way it kind of tailed off towards the end based on the different versions of the iteration. For them to sit there and say, no, we want to make a new Ninja Gaiden game. Let's get Ninja and Platinum together. Who I would love to know, like, who approached who. I was screaming at the time. I wasn't really reading too much what they was. I was just going so crazy looking at footage, looking at cover. I'm going now. I got to rewatch with the discerning eye and get the details because I'm in fanboy, 8-year-old cog mode. Like I'm in that mode right now. Exciting. I'm just so excited. The emotion is very high for me because I never in a million years thought I would get a Ninja Gaiden game, a 2D new Ninja Gaiden game, Ninja Gaiden 4, and you want to give me Black. And everybody know, Black doesn't matter, fam. Black doesn't matter. Yeah. I'm just saying. Maddie said it before me. You know what I'm saying? He's like, Black is the best. That is definitive. So we should go Black. You can't go back to the Sigmas and all of that. You know what I'm saying?
There is truth to that statement. Yes, dude.
Yes.
So now the question, this opens the door to the real other thing to address for if Ninja Gaiden really picks up steam is if they do a 3 Black.
Oh, that's a good one. I
thought at first when I saw it, I recognized the opening shot. I thought because I was DMing one of my editors, Josh, and I was like, I think I just saw 3 in that. And I thought they were like doing something like a remake collection, something like that. But it was all 2, and then I got thinking about what if they did 3. But also when they did that opening shot and it was Ryu again, I'm like, are they remaking 1? Because that's also like,
and I heard 1
the heritage, man.
The source code issue I heard is with 1. Or something. I heard something with source code. Yeah, with 1 and why the Sigma situation. I think they lost it or whatever. But the crazy thing is Black is available through back compat OG Xbox on the thing. I'm gonna download Black 1 and see.
I've been playing it. I'm on chapter 6 of it. It's still tough, bro. Yeah,
still tough, right?
Because I've been neutered by Sigma.
Yes, Sigma.
I need to go back to Black, bro. I need to know where it's the best.
I don't think ain't no hero mode on Black, right? It's just you better get to it.
You have that humbling moment quietly to yourself when you're getting your ass beat so bad. You're like, let me just see if there is like a difficulty setting just in case, we put in quotes just in case, right? I look and I'm like, there's none. Okay.
Man.
Because I'm at this part where like I fucked up, like I fought enemies I shouldn't have, used all of my items, and now I have like no health going into a boss fight, and I'm like, I might straight up be stuck. I don't know. I'm gonna try a few more times and see if I can do it. But like I was raging at this game a few nights ago. I was so pissed. I was like, what the fuck were they thinking? But yeah, like what kind of energy you get into. Look at that. It's just a man with flames in the background. That's it. That's all you get in Ninja Gaiden Black. This man is in hell. Truly.
He's in hell.
This is one of the most hardcover arts of all time. Can we agree on that?
Bro. Hell yeah. Come on. That was gangster when I first saw that. Look at that, man. You got the claws in it. And then what made Ninja Gaiden was so cool was just, I remember just the first time seeing, because most Ninja games, you got your traditional weapon, but like the sword, the weapon switches, the nunchuck.
Yeah, we didn't even see that really in 4, right? Like the pickups and the changes that will happen with that. Oh my God.
It's a lot here, pack here. But yeah, I'm proud papa right now. And I love what they said. This is the year of the ninja.
Yeah.
Touching the heartstrings. Growing man tears. People was like, you wished it into existence. I was trying. And they came through. So salute to Platinum, who's actually working on something.
Yes.
Team Ninja. You know what I'm saying? Keep it alive. I would love to know how they got this pairing together. And then shout out to Xbox for getting that Game Pass back. That's a tremendous look. Yeah. Again, it almost feels like it's free $99, if you're on the platform.
Yeah. And I hope that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black does find an audience despite the shadow drop. I have to admit, there is a little surprise factor. We got to be real. I'm a little surprised after Hi-Fi Rush and the way things went that anyone is shadow dropping out of Developer Direct. I'm happy about it. It's so exciting. But I hope that this does do well, and it's multi-plat. So
that's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
To me, that's the difference now, because at the end of the day, the PlayStation base or whoever doesn't have to wait, and you really want to support, you go pick it up. And I think in their mind, that's the plan to help facilitate the vision. You know what I'm saying? As far as, the shift of what they're doing. So it is going to be interesting to see how many people actually go out on the other platforms, on PC, and I'm assuming PC. They say a PC release or no?
No, it's on PC.
Okay, cool. Yep. So PC and PlayStation, and then see how it does. But yeah, man. So I think that's going to be the key difference, because obviously Hi-Fi Rush was only, Xbox, and I think
did you notice during the show they didn't hide for example, at the end of the Clair Obscur section, like it literally said Xbox Series, PC, and PS5, and I was like,
I did see that.
I was like, they're not hiding it anymore.
They're not hiding it.
That's a pretty noteworthy change, at least for the third party titles showing up, that they're not on their own show. Like they're not doing that thing where it's like, go to the wire and find out.
Yeah, they're not. They want you to know, and then. But what I also like, because that's a shift. You're right. That's a big shift.
Yeah,
right. They normally don't do that. But what I also like is that pause at the start of the show. Everything you see here, Game Pass, Xbox Play Anywhere, huge deal.
Yeah,
huge deal. So we'll see.
Is Ninja Gaiden 4 coming to all systems?
Yeah, it's got to be, right? Why would it not? I would assume so.
I don't know. It opened up with Xbox Game Studio Publishing, so I'm just gonna
let's check it out.
I want to check here. Just doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah, it
doesn't hurt to do a little professional podcasting.
Yeah, professional podcast live.
I mean, just what a fucking announcement, man! Like that was just
insane.
I'm looking right now on the Xbox Wire. I literally Controlled F Ninja Gaiden 4, and they said it like 80 times. give me my platforms. Okay, let me just type in PlayStation. Oh, there's no PlayStation.
Wait, what?
No, I'm just saying, sorry, on the Xbox Wire, there's no PlayStation.
Okay, on the wire on the side.
Yeah.
But the thing.
No, sorry, I'm on IGN right now. It's due out fall 2025 for Xbox Series X and S, PC via Steam, PS5, and day one Game Pass launch time. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, that's the.
I hope this comes to Switch too, as well. That'd be neat.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, you think Switch gotta get it?
You hope so.
Switch gotta get it.
Hope so.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, they announced the Switch 2 early so that games could be announced for it. So if it's not announced here, then I guess maybe it's not happening yet.
But also the timing of probably when they planned this. Remember you went to Japan, maybe they recorded this earlier. It could be some timing thing there.
That's fair.
I see where you're going. Xbox Global Publishing. Wow, interesting. Okay.
So after this, COG,
we
get South of Midnight. I think put in a really shit spot. Any game following up that is in a bad spot. So it was South of Midnight, who already has a lot of the conversation against it getting put like in just at the bottom of the hill here. Coming out April 8th. What are our thoughts?
Yeah, we're going to get into this April month in a minute. That's very interesting very quickly. But look, to your point, yes, it was a coming off of Ninja Gaiden, the fast-paced, frenetic, Ninja Gaiden, I was surprised. That's what I forgot to say. They set the show off with this. They said, secret, here you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying. Like, there's a part of me that almost feel like that should have been one more thing.
Yeah.
I give you that, because I will be honest. I was still Ninja Gaiden on the brand. I was like, oh yeah, South of okay, what's going on? And that's not fair to South of Midnight. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm coming down an extra, which is more of a slower pace. They're talking and whatever. But look, from what I would say,
I just want to throw out there. Please. The other thing I worry about with their order is that you gave people the opportunity to decide whether or not they'll be interested on those 3 games way in advance.
Yes.
And once you find out about that mystery game, you're like, I'm not interested. You just lost.
You could be.
Losing eyes on your product. So as much as it's fun, I wonder if they do that moving forward, because I feel like that might not have been the best for some of the games that were here.
I think that's a fair criticism.
Because I think South of Midnight, not to jump ahead of what you're going to say, but I think South of Midnight looks good. But coming off of Ninja Gaiden, I was like, there's no way that this could stand toe to toe with like that level of excitement I just experienced. And then Clair Obscur picked me back up. So I had that was the lull game, and it got put in a shit spot. But sorry, continue.
I agree. I think South of Midnight didn't get a fit, because I thought, look, after the dust settled and I was getting back into it, getting back on track of the hype, I was like, nah, this game looks good. Like, the animation looks great. I like the weaving skill. I like the gliding. I like what they were showing. I was just showing a couple of more boss fights and stuff like that. it looked better. And what I liked is that, again, as a person who wasn't necessarily a fan of the stop motion when I first saw it, that option can be turned off. And the times when I see it turned off, the animations look smooth. And what she's doing, they're doing the cinematics and she's talking to her mom and everything looks smooth. I'm like, okay, it's better every time I see it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. So now it's just a matter of, I agree. I think that's probably the set off game. And then you ramp up and you go Clair or you go Doom and then you go Ninja. You keep them on that high. So that's probably about, as a person who waxes poetic about Developer Direct, because I still think it's the best as far as now.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing like pacing for the most part. This was the only slight misstep where you like, I agree. You could have put it at the end. But I liked what I saw. What I saw. This is going to come down to, we play this game. We know there's a lot of conversation around it. We play this game. Is the story good? Are we having a good time? I saw those new enemies that they showed and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting. The boss encounters look cool. To me, it's just going to be like, is it enough interesting encounters? And am I really captivated by this story? You know what I'm saying? That's what it's going to come down to. But on face value, I do like what I'm seeing. So what about you? Is it like still for you? Still like you're not really there yet?
It doesn't look bad by any means. Like all these games look good. But I will say that it felt like there was a missing element in the combat. Like there was a lot of just the lead character just jogging up to the enemies and then starting their attacks, and there was no flow or rhythm really. And to be clear, after I watched this, I was like DMing a ton. I knew I wasn't giving the first round my full attention, but I was trying to. So I went back and I rewatched it separately away from all the hype and just tried to like ground myself. And that's where I really came to like what I liked and didn't like about it. I mean, music, environment, voice acting, all sound and look great. But when it came to like combat, I just not there yet. Yeah, I gotta play it, right? I gotta play it. But it was one of those moments where it's like, I can't put my finger on it, but Dragon Age Veilguard did teach me, like, if it looks wrong, there might be something wrong.
Okay, that's where you go.
And I, again, I just felt there was something in the movement in particular that was missing. Also, the way, like, there wasn't a good flow between, like, pretty much, what's the term they used when you would, like, use the thread, you'd like weave the enemies. Yeah. It felt like it was just shifting like jarringly into a cutscene and then like pulling back out. So it doesn't look bad. I definitely still want to play it, especially because again, apparently the game is sub 10 hours, so why not? But I'm hoping that like some of these levels are opened up. Like they showed good movement tech, for example, like the wall running and the flying and stuff, but it was all like this, just kind of always. And so I don't mind linear, but just if you're going to have that sort of movement and freedom, I hope they break open the areas a little bit more. So we'll see. But I could see myself appreciating this game. It's funny. I was holding up classic Xbox titles. Like it still feels like that to me, like a very old spirited original Xbox exclusive. Like I could totally see in that Sega spirited Xbox era of the early 2000s, like South of Midnight is a game that comes out and we talk about frequently. Like I could see that kind of world. So I'm still looking forward to it. I'm curious about it, but I wouldn't say excited about it.
Oh, that's fair. Look, that's where you're at. I totally get it. I think I was there before, maybe the first where you were at. I was kind of at the first showing when I first saw it. I got to see more. To me, the second showing showed the combat way more better to me and really getting in the mix with the bosses than this showing. I felt this showing was less about that. And one thing I do want to highlight, she's got some ability to like create objects. She like create like almost like a whole baby crib out of a weave and sent it at an enemy. It was like this big thing. Did you see that part?
Yes. Yeah.
I was like, what is that? I've never seen that prior to this showing. So to your point, I felt the combat showed better when they fought. I think she fought like an alligator boss or some other thing.
Yeah, that was
two showings ago or one showing ago kind of thing. Whereas this was a different focus. But yeah, look, I gotta play it. I will say that there was one other thing about it. I keep forgetting. It was the fascinating thing. It was one other thing that I was like, ooh, didn't know you had. I was looking at the footage and stuff like that. It'll come to me. But the whole like the Gothic, the Southern Gothic folklore, and then we got new kind of like enemy types, which I thought was interesting. But I need to know where the story goes, man. The different recipes, and that's gonna be the key for me.
That'll be exactly the key factor for me as well. So. We'll see. But for me, out of like every game shown here, this is the one I was like least excited about. Knowing the release date is so close is nice because I won't have to wonder for too long if I'll end up digging this or not.
Yeah.
So South of Midnight, April 8th. After this, we saw Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is releasing April 24th. So this is by the way, just to document the stretch that Xbox users, PC users will have. You've got South of Midnight, April 8th, Clair Obscur, April 24th, and Doom the Dark Ages, May 15th. So, and today you have Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which
in February you got Avowed.
Yeah, February you got Avowed. So this is pretty packed. And if you've been curious about replaying older Xbox games on other hardware, it seems like there's a lot coming your way this year in that regard too. So these quarterly earnings we as a show are going to have to really pay attention to, because they're releasing a lot of shit. A lot. And big exclusives, marketed exclusives, like highly touted games, et cetera, like known franchises. So these will be telling on what the splits are, like we talked about earlier in the show, of the Xbox side of things and the Activision side of things.
Yes.
But with all of that said, Clair Obscur. Cog, I'm telling you, bro, if anyone here has played Lost Odyssey,
that's what Attic said,
they'll know what I'm talking about, bro. This game is going to change people's minds. They're going to be like, oh, that's what Maddie's been talking about for like 5 years now.
Educate them.
Oh, this high fidelity JRPG with an overworld map, an interesting looking character. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're listening now, aren't you? You're listening now, aren't you? Even though I told y'all this game is back compat on your Series consoles. Throw the disc in. Go ahead. Try it.
Put the flannel. You gonna bust the flannel out? You gonna bust it out on him?
Yeah, you know what?
Put the bust it out. You gotta let them know. Yeah. You've been putting them on game for a long time. They really now excited now.
Yeah. Suddenly everyone's like, yeah, this high fidelity JRPG looks really good. Why? Because it's coming out in April. Take your flannel off. Take it off right goddamn now.
Woo! The boys was frauding out there.
Yeah.
That man was holding it down from way back. Let's go.
Final Fantasy 13. I don't want to hear from any of y'all when that game gets remastered or remade. I don't want to hear from any of y'all. Oh, it looks so good now. Us high fidelity JRPG fans do not need you. We don't need your hoity-toity flapping in the wind fucking excitement. We don't need you. All right. Woo! For those of you who've been here since day one, welcome. Welcome to what looks like peak fiction, man. This game looks great. Cog, tell me about it. What are you thinking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33?
First, let's get to it. What I love is the story in the sense that this little spiritual entity shows up and be like, yo, 34. Anybody over 34, it's a wrap for you. That's it. We calling it. We're doing it. Show me your social security. I got 4
years left according to this game, bro.
Bro, I was like, yo, Addy, he's like, yo, I'm close to 33. You're 32. So I said, all right, cool. Because I don't live in this world. This world right here, I'm out of here. But I love it. Like this little, again, spectrally painter or whatever. You got that. Let's get to it. The thing that I really like now is you start to see more of the characters, more of the flair, more of the learning more about this world, and getting a lot of French influence, which I like.
Yeah.
Very France. You saw the what's the famous landmark? Why am I forgetting the famous French landmark? The joint.
Oh, the Eiffel Tower.
Kiss that. What's the Eiffel Tower? There we go. You got the Eiffel Tower looking all wild and crazy. You got those new creatures that they have. One is kind of like I would say like a friend of me. They're like very bombastic, furry with this mask thing on their face. I was like, what is going on? They're fully voice acted. They got super high personality. Then you got like what I would consider like a blimp gauntlet runner that is like your transportation stash vehicle and that has his own personality. And then there's like a land of these other creatures where they all, Lord Beefy looking beastly kind of creatures. They got an old town. There's like, you're starting to see the personalities and the creatures of the world. And I'm just like, okay, this is cool. But the key for me, that the Lost Odyssey energy, right? But the dev says if you're very astute, you paid attention, they were like, look, I made this game because I want to go back to the classic of the JRPGs that I grew up with, right? I'm listening to how he's cooking, he's waxing. But he said, we're in a time period now where the action guys don't like that. So he was like, I want to make a game where guys that want to play, let's say, I'm going to call that the Final Fantasy 16 guys. I'm just going to make that up for them. Right? They want to play, they want to be involved. They want to do the action stuff. And then you saw that he was talking about this character who her whole thing was like she had like a parry mechanic or whatever. And it was very timing based, right? She was like, if you want to lean into that, we've got a play style and you can go that route. But for my strategy and my purist guys, we've got a whole thing where you don't even have to do that. And you've got like a 2-page, I was looking through the skill trees, passives and all these things you could do to play a very strategic, non-actiony way. So this is kind of like that, energy where it's like, we want to, which I want to see if they pull this off. We want to serve both bases with RPG in our format, and you play how you want. And then he kind of leaned into the character, like I play this specific character like a protector or something. I play this character like a glass cannon. And so I'm like, yo, there seems to be a little, I don't say metaphor archetype thing, but it feels like you could choose the
kind,
the roles of the individuals, but also the play style of the game. And I'm like, man, this is ambitious.
Yeah.
So kudos to them. Like this, I'm just shocked that it's this soon. You could again told me like, bro, we coming out this year. We coming out summer. We're going to be here in May, bro. Like April's going to be here. Like that is wild that we're getting this.
We're going to literally blink and be playing this game. That's so exciting.
Yeah. So they call it reactive turn base. What they're saying. And again, innovative mechanics. I want to see if they pull it off. Again, I like that whole story with the paintress, thing. And again, I told you about, the whole, the talent that they have amassed for it. But the one thing that I did like that he say is that we wanted a JRPG that also pushes graphical fidelity. And what I did like was the goddamn boss fights looked epic. You know what I'm saying? These backdrops with just the person's walking through the world. That looked like a hashtag.
Of the frames, though.
Frame got a little one. That's why I saw your double A kick in there. I said, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not as smooth as I would say like a Final Fantasy 7, you know what I'm saying, when it's going through.
Sure.
So I did notice that. It's funny you said I did notice that. They're definitely punching above their weight, but we'll see if they execute. There's a lot of ambitious ideas here.
Yeah. They're really trying. I love the developer story too, that they kind of shared of like, you kind of documented like the start of it all. He pulls in a program and he starts prototyping the idea, and then like they contact a college friend and he quits his job for it. I'm just like, dude, that's so awesome. Like what a cool start to what hopefully is a great success story. I worry a little bit about the frame rate, because if it's like an action style game, right? Like you have action mechanics, I should say, and your frame dips. That's tough. That's tough, right? Because you need to be able to react, which is, this game seems like a hybrid between Lost Odyssey and Paper Mario. Like Paper Mario had a lot of like press this at this time, and Lost Odyssey had a ring system where you would hold the right trigger whenever you did certain types of attacks, and you'd have to release it at certain points, and there would be like special effects and maximize damage if you released it at the right time. So very similar. Again, I could see that this team, bro, I don't know if they'll ever say it, clearly Lost Odyssey fans. So fucking obviously.
You could see it.
Yeah.
You could see the past. They want to take it. They took it upon themselves. If them dudes ain't going, we're going to make the game that we like. You
That's
felt
the game
that energy.
It's about, bro. Like no one's going to do it. I'll do it myself. But this game looks so good. Us turn-based heads are going to be feasting, man. I'm just so excited for a different flavor of JRPG, because I was looking at like the games I play a lot, and they all have like a livelier art style, I would say, but this one kind of true to Unreal Engine style, if you will, right? It's going to be neat and different, and I hope it succeeds. I mean, the cutscenes look way better than I expected, and they're pulling in like big name actors, like Ben Starr's in this game, for example. Like, so I'm expecting a lot. I am interested in the characters, because I am a little skeptical at this moment. I think their personalities are really going to have to hit, only because they're all wearing like the similar fit.
The similar fit.
And I think that what I got the vibe of is that random dude who comes in, who's kind of got like the monkey like body or whatever.
Yeah.
It felt like they were playing it, went, yeah, we kind of need like something different in here. Cause I think the best parties and role playing games are like, I think metaphor, like every corner of the world is represented, and they bring like a lived experience into your party without it feeling forced. And it obviously helps them look different too. This game, everyone's wearing like the same fit and stuff. And you talk about double A energy. I'm like, I'm wondering if this is a little bit of like, hey, this will save us some time.
Save us some time, some budget on the costumes and the suits.
Yeah. Or they do kind of like, maybe they took a page out of the Atlas playbook and they're like, we'll sell you costumes later.
Could be. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I did say that would be my only nitpick. Like, I love JRPGs where the party does look distinct from each other. And I felt very samey French outfitty kind of energy from the 3 to 4 core people. And I was glad to see, like you said, they probably had to add these creatures to kind of mix it up. I hope, like I said, I hope we're overanalyzing it, and maybe there are other suits like that. But if they're not, that's where the double A will kind of kick in. You're like, okay, I see what y'all did.
Yeah, but overall, what they showed looks really good. And so April 24th is the date, man. Not much longer. Literally from today, we're recording 3 months.
Yeah.
Perfect. Couldn't have asked for anything fucking better in that regard.
Bro, April is sick.
Yes.
Got South America at the top. Expedition at the bottom. Already. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's looking good. So I can't wait for that. And then last game of the show goes to Doom, the Dark Ages, releasing May 15th this year, which was rumored for a while that it was going to be a May game, and this would make sense. This would put it just north of 5 years after Doom Eternal. So seems like the right development cycle. What were your thoughts on this one, Cog? Because I'm not mixed is this a strong term, but I tempered my expectations a little bit.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. No, for me, I'm just like, holy shit, here we go again. Like, I guess for me, I'm gonna tell you where it really kicked off. At first, I'm like, okay, more Doom, yay. Where it kicked off for me was the contextual aspect of the shield and how, okay, you can parry, you can throw it, you can shred, you can do like a repel kind of like thing, and also like traditional shield, we just hold it in front. Then I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're going away from the Doom Eternal with the whole grappling and no, there's still that in there. Where it heated up for me was the bombasticness at the end, where they go, okay, you can get in, I call it, as a joke, Bruticus mode, where it's like you turn into this thing and you're fighting I guess it reminds me of them animes y'all be watching. What's that one you always be talking about is the larger than life creatures? And the butt naked giants, they be running around.
Attack on Titan.
That joint. I was like, this is that mode. Yeah. So now you could be one of the Titans and start I was like, I love anything, you know me, anything that forms into something, if you become something. Yeah,
it's that Transformers energy, right?
There you go. Combiners, Devastate. That's what I come from. So I'm like, okay, you got me. Now you want to also throw, Dragon. We got dragons.
Yeah.
And we could fly on like it's just bombastic over the top. So I'm just like, okay, I see what y'all doing right now. It's crazy. And they know who they are. For me, as a person who played the originals, they're getting back to you're going to hold your ground, strafe, and get in the mix.
Yeah.
This is that kind of joint. That's the Dooms I came from. And Dev kind of alluded to it. He was like, if you like that style, you're going to appreciate, because we wanted to make it a little different. But they still have other elements of Returnal and stuff like that. They didn't completely go away from the grappling and getting to people and stuff like that. So it's an interesting mix. To me, I think I'm not the right person to speak authoritatively as like this hardcore Doom head about how Doom should be. But as an old head, I'm like, I know where they're going. That's old school Doom strafing. But then now you're using the shield to get in the mix, to the block and to do all this stuff before, where you would just have to weave out the way of the incoming projectiles and all this stuff. Yeah. And I just love over the top battles. So, and the medieval, bro, he's got the cape. They speaking to me like they do it very awesome. Lordly. Really, he's got the Night's Watch fur cape with it. Like I'm like, this is some medieval. You know what I'm saying? They speaking to me. So I was good. And the weapons, they got like some joint that looked like a Covenant ship as a gun, where they had like the blue thing in it. I'm like, this is crazy. Yeah. Then they got the joint what we saw from the first one with the skull grinding and all that. It's over the top. This is the people that made the BFG, and we all know what BFG is. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, this is what they do. You know what I'm saying? Kind of thing. I'm not worried. Doom is always one of those things that I'm not gonna say it's not for everyone, but it's a specific type of balls to the wall with the heavy metal on. We will tear stuff up today. I'm mad at the world. I got to get my frustration off. And this is the game I'm playing to get it off. That's how Doom has always been for me. So that's how I look at it. But I'm curious for you, like what hit, what didn't hit? Were you like,
It was nothing I really saw in particular outside of one element I'll get into, but I will start off with the wordplay. I think there was 5 or 6 times it was kind of brought up like, get your start here. And that gets into what I was seeing. Because when we got to the mechs and the dragons, I went, okay, this is the difference maker. This is what's really pulling me in. But when I was watching them and they said, like, this game's about standing and fighting, which were they true to that? Because there were sometimes you were just standing there shooting. And I was like, Doom has a level of movement tech, even in like 2016, where you're kind of zipping around. And I'm not expecting them to get away from that, but this did feel like going back to 2016 a little bit. And I encourage people who have played Eternal, maybe you haven't touched 2016 in a while. I think even watching some gameplay will do it, but really, if you feel it, night and day difference, night and day. And so I was a little surprised by how slowed down things really were. Especially because, again, they kept saying like, here's your difficulty settings. This is a prequel. This is for all Slayers. This is for new fans. Anyone can get started. Like all they're actually all of them. And I was like watching the gameplay and I went, yeah, I can see that. Okay. Like, yeah, like that's the vibe I'm getting. I'm not asking for like hardcore motherfucker here, but like,
this is the second Maddie reference of new fans. I gotta watch you. I gotta watch you.
Yeah. I don't want new fans, man. How about that?
I'm documenting.
Yeah. That's a trigger word for me, man. When I hear this is for new fans, I'm like, what about me? I'm the one who took you to the dance, Id. What are you talking about, new fans? Why are your eyes over there? I'm right here, bro. You got my money. So what I'm guessing, because I think Doom Eternal did pretty well, but what I'm guessing may have happened, if I was to just, again, shoot a random guess in the dark,
talk to me,
is one player feedback. Like some people maybe picked up Doom Eternal with all the great reviews and then went, like this is too fast for me.
Too much.
Which it is super fast. That game is tough to keep up with. Yeah. There's a high ass skill ceiling. Like I would not even say I came close to scratching that. But then 2, is when it comes to Doom Eternal is like they defined it as a race car. I think a space rocket as well, right?
Yeah.
And so I think the term they use, I actually may have mentioned this earlier in the show, was like a monster truck, right? Like kind of steamrolling your opponents. But I think when you get back to that, I felt like the amount of enemies they threw at you seemed slowed down. And so I was starting to lose a little bit of the
frenetic pace, Steve, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like
they had a lot of people on screen, but I would say like it felt super frenetic.
Yeah. And I feel like there has to be a level in between where this game has to live ultimately. So yeah, like it doesn't look. I feel like people are gonna get the vibe of being like overcritical, or I think it looks bad. It just kind of. Based on my emotions, I went to a high when I saw like, ooh, like the mechs, like that's cool, that's different. When I'm calling it the mechs, but like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know,
and also the dragons. I went, okay, like this feels new, this feels different, this feels Doom. But when you're on the ground, it felt very much geared to a different audience. And I'll be interested to see how it all plays out. You know, I think it looks really good. The detail and the gore is beautiful. But if I define this game, and what kind of started to get me more mentally on board is they showed the exploration section of like using your shield, pulling yourself in. Here's a collectible, and Doom always had pretty good collectibles. But what I started to think of it as is, I wonder if they looked at Metroid Prime when making this game. That's where I started to kind of put my head toward. I was like, Metroid Prime has very similar movement to what I'm seeing in Doom: The Dark Ages. Obviously, the exploration speaks for itself. The enemy count on screen did not look as absurd as like an Eternal.
Okay.
And so it kind of reminded me more of that. And I went, well, maybe I'm not getting the complete picture, which is why I said I tempered my expectations. Because I'm like, maybe what I'm actually looking at here is a very broad Doom where I'll maybe get like some upgrade for the shield saw, and I'll be able to go back to this area from like the first part of the game and reach this new upgrade. And I'm like, that does excite me.
Yes.
And that's kind of what we were hinting toward in this direct. So I think there's a broader picture that if I look at just the combat, I go, I don't know. But if it's part of a grand experience and a sense of progression, which they showed a bit of, which Eternal really ramped up the progression, but like I think the Dark Ages seems to be taking that a step further, especially with its collectibles. I went like, okay, I think I once I pull all these pieces together in a complete experience, then I'll be like, I love this. But I think from just looking from the outside, the combat, like when they were just standing still shooting, I was like, this, like, what are you guys thinking? Like, there's no way that you looked at this and went like, hell yeah, that's the combat we want to show. Not because it looked bad, but I'm like, no first person shooter is great if you're like taking your thumb off the left analog stick,
right.
Which is what was happening a lot. They just like pull out their gun and be like, and I'm not really feeling that, like that aspect. So we'll see when it all gets pulled together, but that's just from their showcase.
From the showcase.
When I play it and it's a more complete experience, I may feel differently. Because one thing Doom Eternal did introduce was that first person platforming, which I thought was great. A lot of people complained about that, but I thought it was great. And if they're going to expand that into the exploration of the Dark Ages, perfect. I'd love that.
Oh, I'm with it. I'm with all that. No, that joint, I'm good. I see what I needed to see, and now it's just a matter of getting my hands on it, and now see if it executes. But I think to your point, you made a good point in terms of like they did want to show more like standing still, like digging in kind of play, which I can understand as a Doom fan. Some people are like, I wanted you to keep it moving kind of thing. And again, a showing that I felt the first time we saw it. Showed a little more frenetic, you know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see at the end. But to me, it ranked like number 3 on my list.
Okay, that was your rank. Okay.
Yeah, it would be Ninja Gaiden, Clair Obscur, Doom, and then South of Midnight. All look great to different degrees, but definitely the first two, like really, like to me, like must plays. Third one in Doom, I'm like, yeah, I want to play that. But like, the first two, I was like, I will be there no matter what.
No.
How would you rank them?
Probably similar. I would say definitely. I mean, they nothing taking Ninja Gaiden off that top.
Yeah.
So that was that. Obscura is, if they can land it, it has that JRPG, Lost Odyssey, little metaphor type energy. For me, South goes ahead of Doom only because Doom is. It's just I know what Doom is. I am just curious about South. I just love everything that they're trying to do in terms of Deep South, Gothic vibe. And I just got to see that moment-to-moment gameplay. If it feels good, how does it feel when I'm running around with Hazel? How does that play? Because sometimes, got to be honest too, some people don't know how to showcase games, right? You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, as far as the gameplay thing and make it flow, and if it plays right and the bosses and I'm big on music, then I already know that's going to resonate more with me than Doom, because I kind of know what Doom. Even it's just you Doom now, but you got this dope medieval skin, and you're trying, and I know you're going to be good, but I'm more attracted to something that I've really never seen before, kind of thing, and I think that's where South has it for me. But we'll see. But again, they're all like not like, yo, Doom was whack. No, I'm not saying that. It's just like if you want me to rate gun in my head on each one that we saw, and I got to pick a list. That's where I'm going right now.
Sure. So it was overall a great direct. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and release dates.
Yeah, release dates are great. First half of the year, really well planned. And honestly, this is the ideal Xbox at the end of the day. There's a lot of changes happening with the business, and certainly been critical of them. But when it comes to release cadence, this is the ideal Xbox.
Yeah, this is what we wanted. Yeah, we thought, after 2021, we thought 2025, this was how it's going to be. Right? We were like, this is going to be the dude. I would make nicknames like the Avalanche. Bro, it's going to be an avalanche, bro. It's going to be back to back. We're going to have to figure out where to put things, right? That was the energy. And then we had 2022. We're just like, oh my God, what happened? And in 2023, late it started, right? Because remember, even 2023 with the Starfield, it was like all that was towards kind of like the end. And then
Starfield, because then you had the front half, Hi-Fi Rush, which
Hi-Fi Rush was the only thing.
You had Redfall in May.
Don't take me back to that one. Just getting over that. I was like, felt like Concord before Concord. You know what I'm saying? But and they wanted to pull the plug on that, Jay. Remember that? But then 2024 happened. And then, like I said, it was like Forza late, Starfield late. It was one more. Obviously, the COD that year. No COD that year.
No COD that year. At least not Game Pass.
Right. And then now, boom, okay, 2024 comes. You're like, okay, you get the card. Finally, the deal's going. You get that. And then you get, again, the second half kind of late. And now we're getting, I think it's the first time we're getting top half packed.
Yeah, but also top half packed with like truly broadly intriguing titles.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, I don't think everyone's going to play a South of Midnight, but it's something that it's like a game you can talk about, right?
Yeah.
Same with Clair Obscur, same with, of course, Doom. Like, these are high profile. Like, for example, every year, like, we got Minecraft Legends in 23, I think, as well, in the front half of the year or something like that. It's like, but that's not like...
The only exception was probably the Hi-Fi Rush year.
Yeah.
Because Hi-Fi Rush was like, oh, wow, okay. You know what I'm saying? But usually you're right. Like, top of the year for Xbox is genuinely, not that there's nothing, but there's usually these very
little
bespoke titles, you know what I'm saying, that are different, or like it's like an RTS at the top of the year, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, because like, in 2023, you had to basically... Redfall was on all of our calendars, so it's easy to erase, I think, now in hindsight.
Yeah.
But you had like a 4-month gap there. That's not too bad. But really, up until like, if you're talking about big ones, it was like, oh, I didn't know I want a Hi-Fi Rush until I got it. And then the next big one really was Starfield. So you had like an 8-month stretch.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right. Any other thoughts on the developer direct, or shall we move on with the rest of the news as we close this out?
Loved it. 2025 looks stacked. I'm ready to rock.
All right. Just a couple of brief ones. I wanted to throw in here. Thanks. It's funny. We were talking about BioWare earlier in the show. We'll put it in this Indiana Jones section as well. But BioWare, we learned that Dragon Age Veilguard had missed its player count by 50%, according to EA. This is a report in Bloomberg. And that hit 1.5 million players, which, interesting term there, likely means they're including like EA Origins and that sort of access program they have there. Not good. Not good at all. Yeah, I thought, despite all the negative energy, I was like, this should pass 2 million, as I said earlier in the show.
Yeah.
I did say it earlier in the show.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I want to make sure we had that correction there. But
good
I
call.
just, I mean, sucks to see, dude. But I guess, for me, from the quality standpoint and the energy surrounding the game, it's like, what could you have expected at the end of the day, right? The Steam numbers did look promising. I'll bring up the Steam Spy because I talked to another developer at the head of an indie team, and they were like, Steam Spy does give pretty comparable numbers that people like make pitch decks off of and stuff. And according to Steam Spy, Dragon Age the Veilguard, sorry, it's loading right now. Give me 1 second here. Sorry. There we go. It says 2.2 million owners, and that's on Steam. So usually, I mean, they had like Baldur's Gate 3 at like 34 million, which is just insane to think about. But this is a fun site, just lots of interesting stats, but it's a good gauge. But that would mean this one's off based on the report from Bloomberg. And what this also signifies is that console numbers are really bad then.
Yes.
Really bad. Because we saw it was like a top 2 in the month it came out, which it only had a day to build that up.
Yeah.
Did we see the November numbers at all?
Like for you talk about as far as
November 2024 Circana.
Yeah, it was number 2.
Okay.
It was number 2. But remember, in fairness, I thought they still had a shot because it was the last, remember, it dropped on the last day of November. So that was like a 1 day, 2 day kind of total. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're gonna have a big, thing. But no, apparently that was the majority of it. And then it petered off kind of energy, kind of thing.
What do you think about 1.3 million players or 5 million players?
For that scale of game, I can understand that's a big disappointment because the investment that was put in, that this is a pillar of franchises, for them. They're not looking
for such a long time.
Yeah. Oh, the development cycle, right? Yeah. They could not have broken even, as far as I'm concerned, with 1.5. I'm trying to find a quote from one of my guys that talking about the sales thing in reference to it, and I thought it was quite interesting. But yeah, this is a disappointment. This is a disappointment, and again, I am worried. As a person who loves BioWare and loves the franchise, what happens, because stakeholders have expectations. You know what I'm saying? And you worry about, here we go. Like this stock got crushed on the double whammy. So FC 25 was a live service miss, and then they have Dragon Age's underperformance.
Mm.
And yeah, like this is not good. Now they got other things going on for them, right? They got the the
They
FC.
largely do blame EA Sports FC, which is interesting because this is post FIFA now, right?
Yeah. What
And we
saved
were worried
them
about
was,
that brand name, right?
You're right. What saved them was actually college football.
Yeah. Huge.
Yeah. That's what kind of saved them. But
great game.
Yeah, it's not good, man. It's got one that is underperformance. There's no doubt about that for them.
I do think that without Legendary Edition, this studio shut down.
Yeah,
because I would put money on it. The Legendary Edition sold way more than this. And that was a full price game, to be clear. I know it's a remaster, it's not as exciting, but that was a full price game, and I would be surprised if that didn't pass 1.5 million.
And the crazy thing is, when you look at the docs, they actually were reasonable with their expectation. They were looking for only 3 million for Veilguard.
Yeah.
They got to half. So
that's coming after positive previews too. I mean,
yes.
Full marketing campaign, BioWare single players back, et cetera, et cetera. This is a very dire sign that it really is Mass Effect or bust if this studio doesn't close before then. That is the sad reality of this news. It's like, if they don't nail Mass Effect, and I mean like 5+ mil.
And then we got to talk about the elephant in the room, right? Which is, a lot of people did not, including, you were one of the people as far as you didn't like the writing, right? But a lot of people outside of you took it even a step further, which was like, I don't like the writing. I don't like a lot of aspects of the game that they feel is being forced onto me. And we have to talk about it in the sense of, did that truly have the weight this time where people are like, no, Dragon's Age, we don't want this direction from you at all, kind of thing. So I'm not going to, sugarcoat it and say, is this a situation where gamers did speak with their wallets per se and say, I don't like to give attention to grifters, but because generally they represent a small, echo chamber of social media, but had the word spread out so much in this particular case that this was the avoid game, you know what I'm saying? And you have to, I have to at least mention it, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be fair to that audience to say, hey, yo, we ain't with that. And if that is the case based on market data and research, how does that play into Mass Effect's development, right? And kind of thing. So it's just something for them. I know, that want, that pay attention to these kind of franchises and these kind of metrics for them to pay attention coming into the next franchise. So we'll see.
If anyone wants a good gauge on how this game performed and is familiar with the Dragon Age franchise, Dragon Age 2 has it's been around for a while.
Yeah.
But it's sold at a similar pace. Dragon Age 2 hit about 1 million sales really quick, like within 3 weeks, and then tapered off. And Dragon Age 2, while I'm a defender of it, because I think if you go back and play it now, you might appreciate it despite what it is compared to Origins. You might like it a little bit more. But Dragon Age 2 is widely considered, like, before Veilguard, like the most disappointing Dragon Age game in all metrics. And so to put Veilguard in that camp, I think for those who are Dragon Age fans and are still like, no, I like Veilguard, like, still, I think if you look at it from that angle, it makes a lot more sense of like, I think it is a level of, I think you take the politics, the social elements out of it. Like, I just think from a visual perspective, I'm like, this doesn't look like Dragon Age,
Right. That was a criticism.
I think that was a big thing for people. Like, this doesn't look like, at least 2, you could say, looked like a Dragon Age game.
Yeah.
Inquisition was a little more colorful and softer, sure, but like, it was still a Dragon Age game. I think when it's a series in name alone, that sends a lot of people the other way. And I think a lot of these sales were just people like, I like this brand, I want to give it a try. Or a lot of it was like peer pressure, like, hey, BioWare might die without your sale here.
Yeah.
Certainly, like, we didn't say go buy it, but definitely I was like, when I made my review, I was like, I don't want to sit here and trash what might be their final game in a developer that's been so influential in my entire lifetime. But that's what it is. But like, the pressure was on everyone, I think.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So it's to see it climb that sales chart in such a way. I did expect a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, 1.5. Yeah, that felt like I don't say double A energy, but you know what I'm saying? Like that felt like a double A was like, yeah, we got 1.5, not the triple
like you spent
A.
like 3 years on it.
Yeah, this is a pillar. And then to your point, they're not done right now.
Yeah.
But if Mass Effect flop, they're out of here.
Bro, yeah.
We just got to be real.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you that if Respawn has another banger, I think it might not even matter. Because I just think Respawn is what EA wants BioWare to be. Like, Respawn's got the live service down. They can do multiplayer, fine. They can do single player also really well. That is what EA wanted BioWare to be. Think about it, right? They had them on this single player trajectory, and they're like, all right, can you whip up a little Anthem for us? Can you whip up a little Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer, Mass Effect multiplayer? Can you whip that up for us? I'll defend Mass Effect's multiplayer till I die. Like,
oh yeah, I love that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But BioWare could not transform. And then they tried to go back to what they were after losing all of their talent. And we saw how it played out. So I almost wonder if, like, boom or bust, they're just like, let's get Mass Effect out there, see if it's explosive. And I think it might just be a gauge for EA to be like, is this IP valuable? Because I think Dragon Age, it's like, unless we reboot or remake, we do not touch this thing. Like, I don't like, I talked about it on the Spoilercast with Gene and Rick. I was like, the fact that they teased that there was more after this, I was like, it was a real-time learning experience for me. I was like, you're fucking kidding, right? Like, they had the balls to do that after everything that happened. You just don't call it there. So I think EA will only go back if they can just reignite that feeling of like, remember why you liked it? We're going to go back to that. So I think this just symbolizes Dragon Age is dead. You know, Inquisition was a extremely rare case. Like, we love Mark Dara, but I saw him kind of like at one point getting into it on Twitter with some people saying like, I don't know why people consider Inquisition like a failure. Like, it sold 10 plus million, I think recently 12 plus million copies. This was months ago. And I saw that and I was like, yeah, but you realize, like, you guys got, like, no one at BioWare ever admitted, but they got the most phony Game of the Year award that year. And that was with the brand recognition of Dragon Age was still somewhat strong. Like, there was a lot of factors that will never play into another Dragon Age game again that happened with Inquisition.
And that was very early console launch window.
So like, you had all the player bases. That game probably sold a lot of its millions of copies on deep sales because that shit was like $5 many times. Like, there's a lot of what racked up the sales chart for that I think made EA think this will be a bigger game at some point. Because they may say like, oh, we tempered our expectations. We went to like 3 million. They were calling it like they wanted a breakout hit before this. So I think the disappointment's also much more seismic internally than we actually know. So yeah, I really do think Dragon Age is done as a franchise unless they remake or do a Legendary Edition. I think it's done. And unfortunately, I think with how far away since Origins they got from what makes Dragon Age, even if I love those games, like I love Inquisition in different areas. Like, these are good games. They've gotten so far away from what made it that series that I feel like any continuation of it, even if it looks like the original, people don't trust the staff right now. And I just think, again, I think EA is just going to analyze and assess and be like, is Mass Effect worth anything? If people still like Mass Effect, who else can do Mass Effect beyond BioWare? Like, it's sad. I don't like to talk about what was like one of my all-time favorite developers like this, but I haven't really liked a game from them since Mass Effect 3. Like, if I'm talking liked out the gate, like I learned to like Inquisition over time, but that game's deeply problematic. You know, you have to ignore a lot of issues with it to really love it, I think. But Mass Effect 3 was the last one I played. I went, BioWare, so good. I never thought when I finished that campaign that would be it. I was a senior in high school, bro.
Wow, that's taking it back.
Senior in high school. I'm now turning 30 this year. Fuck me, bro.
Trip down memory lane, bro. I feel you.
I'll always remember that. Always remember that.
I'm going to pull for them until the wheels fall over.
100%, bro. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah. All right. One last bit of sales news, and then we'll talk about what's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has ranked at number 15 for the best-selling games of December 2024, according to Circana. So the last data we had analyzed was its week 2 performance, where it was at number 2. But otherwise, it ranks at number 15 overall. And so, PlayStation fans, I know you're listening. We're counting on you, man. I want more. I want more indie, bro. Y'all got to pick up the slack. Something's going on here. We all need to step up big because this game is too good to sell this bad. But this probably explains the hasty move early for a PlayStation copy. Remember, you suggested it,
Yeah, that's what I suggested.
You were like, pre-orders might be looking a little. Pre-orders, if they're doing like that.
Yep, that's what to me that indicates, and the fact that the elephant in the room. This is a licensed game. You know what I'm saying? It's still a licensed game, bro. And I know historically they probably won't admit it, but I remember during the days where I would push Phil and the team, like, bro, where y'all at with you got Spider-Man running around here, you got like, where's y'all joint? What was it, like the superhero game or just the licensed pop culture game? Because they don't want to pay them fees. And in their defense, we have seen, remember with the Insomniac leaks, how much is Marvel getting their cut. And this one's getting, and from my understanding, Lucasfilms, they don't play. So you're going to have to put this on other places, sir. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to get this out there. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say like 15, a complete failure, but I know they would have liked higher. Right?
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. And then obviously it's coming. What's the release date for PlayStation? It's coming.
I don't think they just said spring.
Spring. Okay. Yeah. So it's coming.
There's another title probably coming out in April.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah. So that they'll get that and then we're from there. But I still, like I said, I hope I just want to take this last point. But it does goes to show you though that again we give them a lot of smoke and rightfully so. But this is what I was trying to say in the previous segment in the sense of, bro, games, bro, they don't sell. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know if it's a question. Everyone can say, "Yo, bro," but it's Game Pass. You see, and that's fair. You want to go that way, cannibalize it, fair. I'm not going to fight you there. But also, what I'm going to say is that you also have people who are like, "Well, it's good, but I'm old and I'm young. I don't know who indie is, or you know what I'm saying? Like
the brand kind of worn down. It's
you know what I'm saying, and the brand, and it's just like, yo, I'm going to wait till it comes to the platform I like. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. It's not as simple. People like this thing. You just make good games that come. No, not all the time. You know what I'm saying? There are all the factors to it. So that's another thing that I just wanted to comment on and stuff like that. But at least, like I said, we're going to have a second lease on life. And PlayStation fans, it's up to you now. Support this joint. I thought this is an amazing game. Oh, my God. And I had to give God. I don't know how to. I had to give God.
Yeah, you said that in our.
I was like, bro. I know you had your fingers on that.
Yeah.
I know you did.
Yeah. So I feel like it deserves another game. I don't want it to end up like another Guardians. That was my fear. I was like, man, Guardians was way better. It had any right to be. Indiana Jones, I had high hopes for from the moment we saw it the developer direct at the top of last year. I was like, oh my God, yes. And then once I got that full feel for like the ranking up and the exploration, I was like, yes, this is so good. So I just I mean, the reviews were strong and everything. I mean, you gotta argue in favor of Xbox's strategy. It sucks.
Talk to me.
I'm just saying, but like, don't like your album.
You talking about? Yeah, you don't want it, your platform. No. Facts. Yeah. I don't want to. Listen, I'll wait. I'll get it where I want to play it at. You know what I'm saying? Thus,
you pulled up some interesting numbers this morning, didn't you, sir?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about them?
Oh, which one? I'm trying
the PlayStation ones, the top selling game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. I said,
this is the ultimate, because a lot of people were like, oh, you're hanging on to that story of a million sales too much. But wait till COG fills you in on some top selling PlayStation games.
Yeah,
2024.
Yeah, top downloads of the whole year. 2024. And looked at the US settings. Look what's in the top 20, man. Right in the mix with Astrobot. Right behind Astrobot is Sea of Thieves. Right there. And again, this is just the US market of download. US and Canada of download. So Sea of Thieves is right next to Spider-Man 2. And Astrobot is the most downloaded games on PlayStation. Sea of Thieves.
Yeah. Stings a little bit, doesn't it?
Gets even better. EU. Oh boy, they swashbuckling over there. In the bro, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is 8th in the EU. Sea of Thieves behind Black Myth Wukong, Hogwarts Legacy, which we know in the EU. How'd that go? You better get your Hogwarts on. What's the Snuggle Puffs? What they used to do?
Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuffs. The Hufflepuffs.
Nicely done.
You know what I'm saying? And you know it's EA Sports FC, Helldivers, Grand Theft, and now we're talking the big boys, you know, Black Ops 6, and then, you know, say, bro, chill, hold on, I just peeped something. Yo, football, aka soccer, is so big in the EU that EA Sports FC 25 is number 1, and EA Sports FC 24 is like number 5. The last year joint is still up there. They getting their football on over there.
Oh, holy crap!
That's crazy. So yeah, and here's what Sea of Thieves is above in the EU, above Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero.
Wow. Okay.
Above Modern Warfare 3. Astrobot, It Takes Two, Spider-Man, Elden Ring. Now, granted, probably older, but that's Cyberpunk. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy to me.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, unbelievable.
I feel like we're going to see more Xbox games in those top charts this year for sure.
Yeah.
But it's a telling sign of like, if indie's not selling here, and it's got everything. It was the high Metacritic. It was the exclusive. I mean, had the buzz, had the IP.
Yeah.
I mean,
the review.
I'd be so frustrated if I worked at Xbox. I'd be like, dude, fuck. Like, what can you do?
Got to put it, and thus now you see the strategy with the day and day, the acceleration of the tech. You see Outer Worlds like, hold on, fam, putting our joint everywhere. Outer Worlds 2 everywhere.
Direct, we see it. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it is. You got to do what you got to do to better boy. Like I said, you got to get him the time stone, bro.
Yeah.
Got to give him the time stone, and we're in the end game now.
Yeah. There's only one outcome. All right. Well, that's what's going on with Indie and its sales. Last bit of news here, Cog, and it's what's coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. Now included in this list is, of course, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which you can download right now. But otherwise, here has been what's confirmed between January 22nd and February 4th. You've got Flock, Gigantic Rampage Edition, Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess, Magical Delicacy, Starbound, Chia, The Case of the Golden Idol, all coming to Game Pass on January 22nd. So by the time you're hearing this, you'll have access to it. Flock is being added to Game Pass Standard. Gigantic Rampage Edition is on console, PC, and cloud. Kinitsugami Path of the Goddess is part of Game Pass Standard. Pretty big.
Huge.
Magical Delicacy, Game Pass Standard. Starbound, console, and cloud. And Chia is going to be on Game Pass Standard alongside Case of the Golden Idol. Then you've got Eternal Strands and Orcs Must Die Death Trap alongside Shady Part of Me coming to Game Pass on January 28th. Apologies, by the way, if you hear Forrest barking in the background. He's got the highest, squealiest little bark of all time. He's so cute, though. Eternal Strands being a bigger one, I think. That one got some showtime, I think, at the Game Awards, but that's coming to console, PC, and cloud. Then, day one to Game Pass, January 30th. Sniper Elite Resistance, console, PC, and cloud. Can't wait for that one. January 31st, you get Citizen Sleeper 2, Star Wars Vector. I still need to play the first one, but that's coming to console, PC, and cloud. And then February 4th, you get Far Cry New Dawn out of complete nowhere, console, PC, and cloud. Leaving Xbox Game Pass on January 31st is Anucard, Broforce, Darkest Dungeon 1, Death's Door, Maquette, and Serious Sam Siberian Mayhem, all leaving console, PC, and cloud. Cog, your picks for what you're looking forward to, and anything anyone should play before it makes the grand exit from Game Pass.
Look, man. First of all, shout out to Kinitsugami getting into Standard, which is now that's part of your package, where you don't have to worry about the guys that can't do the ultimate joint. So I thought that was good. Eternal Strands, I'm hearing things. We'll see how that goes. I want to learn more about it. I know your Stanford Elites in there. That's always a good pick.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Random Far Cry. Thought that was interesting.
Have you ever played that one?
No, I have not.
It takes place after 5. It's have you beat 5 before?
No, I don't do Far Cry. I've never done a Far Cry game.
5, I feel like I would appreciate. I should have appreciated more back then. Not by an extreme amount, but like its story's crazy, bro. Like the ending in particular, I'll just say. Like it is, and so I won't.
That's the Giancarlo joint?
No, that was 6. That was 6. This is the one that's like clear commentary on like patriotism, and
I think Colin loves this game, right? He loves
Colin played. It's like the one thing that makes me want to quit. He just
why you gonna quit? That's because of what? What's his choice?
Put over 100 hours, I think, into Far Cry 6. I was like, dude, how? You're such a smart, bright boy. What are you doing, Colin? Like, why are you playing Far Cry 6, dude? I say as I play like 300 hours of Trails.
True. I know we all got we got our comfort food, man.
Yeah,
there you go. But no, that right there. And then I was gonna say, for the goodbye, Death's Door. If you didn't play that, man, I thought that was one of those early, nice little Cog indie gems.
Good times, 2021. Let the indie program roll.
Hell yeah!
How great was that?
Yes, that was one of those. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, but for me, of course, I'm picking Sniper Elite Resistance on this list. Just so excited to just sink into that world again and just shoot people in the nuts, get the X-ray cam, have a blast doing it. So
scrotum shooting.
Yes, popping holes in sacks and whatnot.
Downing the throat coat at the same time.
Yeah, you'll coat throats with like lead in this game, bro.
Clearly.
It's an exciting time for Sniper Elite fans out there. So they did a features trailer. I'm not gonna lie, it's so funny. Like I watched it, I'm like, this is everything from Sniper Elite 5. Like, I'm cool with it. Like they have the Sniper Jaeger system again, which they were like, you can turn this off, by the way. They were like, shoot your foes from afar. I'm like, nice, just like all the other ones.
Just like the other ones.
Yeah. They have a crazy multiplayer mode too. That was interesting.
Yeah,
they always had like a complete package for these games. I never really dabble in the multiplayer. It's more like I love the campaigns, I love co-op, but these games are great. Like I really recommend give it a try. Same thing I said last time around. You know, Sniper Elite is just a cool little AA series that has been going on for a while, and I just always appreciate when it comes around. It's not going to be a game of the year, but you'll have fun with it.
No doubt.
But as for leaving, I'm right there with you. Death's Door, get on that. Death's Door is a great game. Really cool art style, interesting story, made by 2 people. So
yes,
it's a really impressive game all around.
Absolutely.
All right, Cog. Well, that brings us to our Game Pass pick of the week. And I'm sure as people who are listening to audio could tell, and if you're watching the video, you already know because of the outfit changes. But yeah, we recorded this episode in 2 parts. I say all of that because my Game Pass pick of the week for this week, based on what I was playing, was already Ninja Gaiden Master Collection. And boy, I guess I'm throwing it out there still because, you know, you could still play 1 and 3 that way. But of course, I would naturally be like, oh, play Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. But I have not played that yet.
True. So we don't want to, yeah.
So I don't want to like cross out too much. Plus, I know we're going to share a ton of thoughts on that next week, right?
Next week, you already know.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, easy Game Pass pick of the week next week. We'll get into that a little bit more then. But I still think Master Collection has its place in the market. Just don't play 2 there is my suggestion. But I will say this, right? I talked about the Ninja Gaiden history a lot this episode, but I'll just throw that I'm not a Sigma hater. Like these are great games, even if you play them as just fun, mindless action titles. Like the animations, the movesets, the collectibles, the exploration, the content. Like it's all there. It's all fun. It's all engaging enough, even if you're playing it at like what many fans would consider like the bare minimum level. I don't think it's such a steep downgrade, especially ignorance is bliss. If you've never played these games before, you won't know the difference. You really won't, like unless you're like me and others who like grew up where I played Black. I remember buying it from GameStop, $10 used, and getting fucking smoked by like the first boss on the horseback. Like that was a life-changing experience for me.
Horseback joint was no joke.
Yeah. As a kid, bro, I mean, I beat it pretty easily. I felt really good playing Ninja Gaiden 1 again, bro. There was moments I was like, yeah, man, you got it. Like the kid you was having such a tough time, and look at you now. But then I got stomped by Chapter 6, and so we'll see if I can crawl out of that. But I've been playing that on my 360. Nice. Still refuse to use my Series X, I guess. No, I'm kidding. I'm firm. Yeah, don't worry. Hey, everyone will be happy to know Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I'm looking at it right now. It's downloaded on my Series X.
All right. Okay, cool. How many? So we got to work in the hours in 2025.
My first 10 of my 74 hours for the year are going to be like
you're clocking them 75 early.
But yeah, man, I just recommend people try out Ninja Gaiden. It's a good time to brush up on the series. You got the full series on Game Pass right now. You can do 1, 2, and 3. 3 again, definitely play through the Master Collection because you'll get Razor's Edge, which has all the fixes and changes that the original did not have. And if you want a cool history lesson, go watch the original Ninja Gaiden 3 reviews when they came out from like all of the press and stuff. Really, really big difference. But love these games. Tremendous Xbox heritage with the first 2. And just to know, this is the year of the Ninja. You got a 2D game coming out. You got a 3D game coming out later this year. You got the remake or remaster, sorry. There's just a lot to be excited about with Ninja Gaiden. So check out Master Collection on Game Pass.
Perfect choice. Year of the Ninjas 2025. Get to it. I love how you described it. That's the way to do it. And then, save 2, right? Because we're going to talk about 2 on the Black team, you know what I'm saying, for next week. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Grown man tears for me. This is a beautiful time. I never thought I would get these games from my childhood and just in amazing fashion.
Yep. Such a fun way to get them. So Ryu Hayabusa is back. Maybe soon they reveal another like Dead or Alive game and put Ryu back in that. That'd be awesome. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to wrap this show up. Cog, what is our hashtag for this week, sir?
Ninja DD.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. That's it. It's the year of the ninja.
Easy. Ladies and gentlemen, we got this deep into the show. I'm at G27 Status on Twitter. Cog is at Lord Cognito. You can tag us there. Use the hashtag NinjaDD. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. If you don't use social media, no problem. Use the hashtag NinjaDD in the comments down below. Let us know you finished the episode and your thoughts on all that we discussed throughout this episode. Pick your favorite topic, rip some thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Other than that, Cog, excellent show. We will be back next week for Defining Duke as I stammer over my sentence here to close things out. Please, someone save me. We'll see you all, though, for episode 213 of Defining Duke and Xbox Podcast. Until then, peace out.
Defining Duke, an Xbox Podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.